Okay, good day, guys. Good day to you all. Welcome back to the Formula Sports channel. As always, thanks for being here. As soon as you guys enter, just gently reminding you guys to, smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. Free and easy ways to support. And we're gonna be talking about that game last night with Jamaica versus Peru. Right, we have to talk about that game last night. Right, a game that is the most. I know we lost the game 3-0, but my side never yet get 3-0. I'ma feel upbeat about it. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel upbeat about the 3-0. Some of you might be wondering what is Formula talking about. I'm not going to lie to you. I felt upbeat about the 3-0. Honestly, man. Not gonna lie. Udell say, I have no problem win the game, we look promising. Yeah, and that is the whole thing about it, man, is the way we play. The way we played, especially in that first half. It was the best. Just the build-up play and the attacking structure, man, and how the team just put on the ball on the ground and string some passes together, man. Honestly, man. It was something. It was the type of game that we have rarely seen from the Reggae Boys in quite a long time. Quite a long time. So honestly, man, I am feeling very upbeat. Very, very upbeat about what took place in that game last night. We didn't know what to expect going into the game. We didn't know what to expect, from both coach and players alike, right? And I personally was pleasantly surprised by both. I think the players, I don't think there was any real standout, to be honest with you. Right? Some people may say King, some people may say Lamar Walker, right? Some people say Beckford as well. I personally don't think there was any real standout, but the players held their own on the big stage. They held their own. They still have a lot of work to do for sure, but they did better than many of us would have, anticipated or would have thought that they would have done. Mark Chambers said, keeping the ball on the ground was a plus. Hope we can look the same next week. Yeah, I mean, next week is when it counts down. Next week is when it counts, right? It makes no sense we do this in this game, do what we did in the game last night, and don't, carry it over into the World Cup qualifiers, even though it's a different group of players. We got some indication as to the Paul Hall system, the Paul Hall style of play. And I think many of us, including myself, would have been impressed. Not many long balls. People, when last we ever watch it's very rare in recent times when we watch a football game and we don't see the team, one, struggling to build out from the back on almost every play, and two, constantly having to get the ball out of here. Anywhere will do, just get it out of the danger zone. Right? It's the last time I saw Reggae Boys really put the ball on the ground like that was against Costa Rica. That was the last time I saw the Reggae Boys really put the ball on the ground like that. And let's be fair, that Costa Rican team on that particular day was not the best. Before that, the last time I saw us play similarly to that would have been. I mean, we have seen it. We saw it in patches, But for the most part, under the last regime, man, it was just struggling to build out from the back and constantly booting the ball along. I wonder, you know, you remember when Tapa said that I know him tell Damian Lowe for keep on going long, right? Damian Lowe, would have been under a particular set of instructions and would have understood his role and understood, what he was supposed to do a lot clearer in this game. And that is why, in my humble opinion, it didn't seem booting the ball, up the field a lot. Did we see Damian Lowe play any long ball in this game? Right? It was very rare we saw a long ball in this game, which was so refreshing, man. Honestly, so refreshing. I was just very impressed, man. I remember watching the first half, man, and just very impressed. One would think that if Paul Hall could pull this off with the group of players that he would have had at his disposal in this particular game that was played last night, one would think that, in the games to come in the World Cup qualifiers, with a better pool of players, better crop of players, you know, he should be able to do a similar thing. You should be able to do a similar thing. It's just I did a video earlier when I said that I was happy and sad about the performance last night, because to know that this guy was in our coaching ranks all this time, seeing and to know that the right coach was here all along. But it's just unfortunate that he was not the one that was making the final decisions. Right? I think we all know now that Paul Hall was really and truly, in a supporting role to Theodore Tapa Whitmore. Really and truly, his job was to just, suggest things, I guess, and also, do, what he was told. Carry out the instructions of the gaffer. The wrong person was the gaffer, man. Honestly, the wrong person. It's so crazy. It's really a situation where the assistant coach is by far a better coach than the gaffer. And that was what was taking place all along. The role should have been reversed, man. Tapa should have been the assistant coach, learning from Paul Hall. Right? Learning from Paul Hall. Paul Hall should have been the guy in charge, man. Smash the like button as soon as you guys come in. Free and easy way to support, and hit me in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about what took place last night, man. Were you guys as encouraged about the performance as I was? Were you guys as upbeat about the performance as I was? As I said, the 3-0 not even hurt me, to be honest with you. The 3-0 not even hurt me. And honestly, you can't even say that there was anything structurally wrong with the team why we would have conceded those 3 goals. So I wouldn't really, you can't really lay the blame at the feet of the coach, so to speak, where those 3 goals were concerned. It was really and truly individual errors, right? The first goal, Damian Lowe and King were out jumped by two players who are shorter than them, by 2 Peruvians that are shorter than them. If memory serves me right, I don't even think King jumped. Right? And that's one of the things I might have against King in this game, because a lot of people saying that King balled, I respectfully disagree, Don't get me wrong, the player didn't play badly, right? He played okay, but we have to remember as well that this player was responsible for 2 of the goals that was conceded on us. The first one and also the second one, I think, where Haka made that mistake. Really and truly, King made a mistake as well, because Haka was under a bit of pressure, from 3 Peruvian players, right? Who were pressuring Haka. King should never have made the pass to Haka. He should never have made the pass to Haka in the first place. So King have to take some blame for that as well, in my humble opinion. In my humble opinion, King have to take some blame for that as well. So that's why I now go down the road with people of saying that King balled. Right? And then in my humble opinion, there are a number of plays where, King made mistakes, especially from a positional standpoint, being dragged out of position, right, and being a little bit indisciplined. And what would not have shown it up that much is that he recovered well, to be fair to him. And, he has speed, right? So because of that recovery speed, he was able, it didn't really show him up a lot of times, to be fair. Shaquille said, no, sir, King cannot take blame for that mistake from Haka. Haka should have gone back to the keeper. I agree with you, Shaquille. I agree with you from the perspective that, Haka made a big blunder, right? He made a big blunder. But I honestly think that some might forget on King too. In my humble opinion, I think King should have never have, because Haka was under pressure from 3 players. Why, pass it to him when there were other passing options? Rain Scorpion, big up, boss. You're mute. Oh, all right. You're not ready for talk it. But yeah, man. So I get what you're saying, Shaquille, but me personally, King for take a little blame for that, because him should have never get to a kind of that situation. That just what me feel personally. Your 4-3-3 isn't working. Far too many poor balls, long balls. King make too many mistakes. Not good. Some of this I agree with, Mr. Coutinho. Some of it not. But yeah, just continue sending in your comments and let me know what you think about what took place. Smash the like button. The first half in particular. No, Aston Villa Coutinho, I can't agree with that. Right now, I don't want to see John Barnes. I Paul Hall of the man. Right, you see the title, boss. In Paul Hall we trust. Paul Hall of the man right now, man. Right now, Paul Hall is the man. But I think the first half though was very positive, man. Very, especially the first half. Yes, in the second half we kinda, I think Fletcher described it perfectly. Fletcher described it perfectly. We were a bit flat in the first half, but in the second half rather. But the first half was very encouraging. Rain Scorpion. Boss, I don't understand why you're on the panel just for listen. If you jump on the stream, man, you have to say something, man. You have to say something, Rain Scorpion, if you jump on the stream, man. You can't just jump on just for listen. But yeah, man. So I think the first half, man, was just very, very encouraging for me personally, man. Very encouraging for me personally. Yeah, man, guys. So smash the like button, guys. Rain Scorpion, you can't jump on the panel and not say nothing in a boss. If you jump on the panel, you have to talk, Virgin. I don't understand you.
I'm on work right now.
Yeah, but so why you jump on the panel then?
I'll tell you what, I jump back home when I reach over.
I don't know what you're saying.
I said I get back on when I reach home. I'm at work at the moment.
Yeah, but me I say why jump on the panel if you're not gonna contribute nothing?
Well, I could contribute. I just want to tell you, I love what they do, man. Keep the ball on the ground. That's one of the main things. See, what I like oh they play through the press. You know, that's a plus. I never seen them play through the press before. This is my first time.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But like I said, I'm at work. You know, I'm in the break room, so I will get back on as soon as I get off work.
All right then.
All right,
So yeah, man. So I'm just going. You're going to come off the stream.
all right.
All right then. Cool. Yeah, man. So no, and you know, Rain Scorpion make a good point a while ago. Guys, we were playing through the Peruvian pressure, you know. Even when they were pressing us, you know. Even when they were pressing us, you could see the patterns of play to evade the pressure. Right? When you ever see them the things they from Reggae Boyz yet. Right? When you ever see them things they from Reggae Boyz, anytime under the previous gaffer, anytime the Reggae Boyz started to be pressed from the front, we struggled to handle it. We struggled to handle it whenever we were trying to build out from the back and we were coming under pressure. We struggled to handle it, right? And in this particular game, we handled the press so well. You could see the patterns of play to evade the press, right? So, boy, people, trust me, man, me very upbeat about what took place last night, man. I'm very upbeat, to be honest with you, man. You know, even though it was a 3-0, even though it was a 3-0, man, honestly, man, I'm very upbeat about what took place. Very, very upbeat. It was a positive performance. You know, the goals came through, the goals that were conceded came through individual errors. You know, in the first half, we really held our own and went toe-to-toe with the Peruvians. We had a sustained period of dominance in the first half. You know, the Peruvians had a period, you know, in the first half when they did have the upper hand. I wouldn't say they were dominant, but we had a period in the first half when we really had them under pressure. Even though the final balls would have been letting us down, but they were a bit vulnerable, right? And then they had a period when they had the upper hand. And then, you know, it was a case where we were just going toe to toe with them and really putting up a good fight when it comes to trying to control the midfield, right? Right up until the end of the first half, right? I think that, you know, we you know, as stated earlier, anytime we came under pressure, you know, from the front press, we handled it relatively well, better than we have done, you know, previously. By the way, guys, guys, when you now hit the like button, man, hit the like button, man, hit the like button. And I take no effort at all to hit the like button. Read some of the comments. I don't know Peru lineup, but you had some new players getting some game time yesterday instead of your usual starting 11. But you still have not conceded 3 after starting the game. After starting the game, good possession. Okay, Starboys Juices Philly said that's true. Please don't start promoting this John Barnes thing. Now I agree. I agree. Right now, I don't want to hear about John Barnes. Right? John Barnes is an unproven manager. Yes, he had a good record with Jamaica, but the opposition was not a big opposition. And right now, yes, I just one game, but I am pleased with what I saw from Paul Hall. You know, Paul Hall, in my humble opinion, didn't get everything right, but it was a vast improvement on what we have seen previously, man. Honestly. John Barnes can go on One bench, Paul do very well with players playing for the first time. I think John Barnes wanted to try and throw his name into the hat because he knows that there will be a managerial spot up for grabs in there might be a managerial spot up for grabs, in the near future. And I think he wants to resurrect his coaching career, right? But boy, I would love, I mean, yes, it's just one game, but right now, Paul Hall is the man forward. Paul Hall is the man to go forward, man, honestly. Concha's one-time effort was saved. You had your chances, but Peru keeper was good. To be fair, though, we only had one chance. We only had one real chance. To be fair, that header from Beckford. Apart from that, though, we never really troubled their goalkeeper. Apart from that, we really and truly never troubled their goalkeeper. It was a very good header, though. Isn't this Beckford's debut? I think this is Beckford's debut, if I'm not mistaken. What I think if he would have gotten a goal on his Reggae Boyz debut, that would have been something to remember, but a brilliant save denied him. I think the keeper that made that save keeps for Orlando City. I think he's Orlando City's goalkeeper in the MLS. It was a brilliant save, man, honestly. Man, dig it out, man. Dig it out. Why would you blame King for Haka mistake? The only reason why Haka don't make those mistakes in World Cup qualifier is because they play the ball around him. But my thing is, Mark, you kind of something them my point, If the only reason why Haka don't make those mistakes in World Cup qualifiers is because them play the ball around him, right? King should have played the ball around him. King shouldn't play the ball to him. If you look back at the play now, and this is just my opinion, if you guys disagree, absolutely no problem. I just think that there were three Peruvian players in close proximity, right? And they were applying pressure and they were pressing down. They kind of, what's the term they use again, man? I don't remember the term, the particular jargon eludes me right now, but you know, I just think that yes, don't get me wrong, Haka is the main person to blame. He's the main culprit and he needs to remove himself from the Reggae Boyz team at once. Right? He was the main culprit, no doubt. But I think that I personally, if you disagree, fine, but I personally would give King a little bit of the blame. I don't think King should have made that pass to him. Honestly. Right? Because I think he was in a vulnerable situation. Yes, he made the wrong decision, but he was still in a vulnerable situation. Javian Brown found the head of Beckford after a cross, which forced a save. You had a couple chances still. Yeah, man. Guys, what you think about Javian Brown? A long time I tell Tapa for start this brother. Seeing this man start a two solid performances now we see from Javian Brown. And in both performances, a one mistake or one negative thing made the same do, and it's when him could have get the red card for the challenge on Christian Pulisic, right? But to be fair to him, Christian Pulisic is arguably one of the best dribblers in world football, and he was out there battling for the entire game. The Americans were running everything down Javian Brown's side, right? And he was a bit leggy, and Pulisic came on fresh legs. One of the best dribblers certainly in the Premier League, running at him. He can be excused for being a little bit rash in that scenario, but overall, two solid performances now from Javian Brown, right? Long way I tell Tapa, for give this youth a bus, right? How on God's earth, Alvas Powell and especially O'Neal Fisher kept on starting over this player. You know that You know that Vancouver Whitecaps fans and publications and beat writers that report on the Vancouver Whitecaps, they have a lot of good things to say about Javian Brown, you know. They have a lot of good things to say about Javian Brown. Header off a free kick snuck past Knight, goal from there, the momentum went. Yeah, I think that was one of the things that kind of threw us off in the second half, where you know we conceded a goal pretty early in the second half, and it kind of knocked us off a bit. I mean, we shouldn't have conceded the goal. I mean, King definitely, you can't argue with me on that one. Yeah. King is primarily probably to blame for that goal being scored. 3 errors, I think. Error from Jamal Lowe, error from King, and I think Knight could have done better on the play. But you can't argue with me on that one day. That King should have done better on that header. I thought Leon was the best dribbler in world football. No, sir. That joke here against Aston Villa. Nobody said that, and nobody would ever say that. You are joking. Are trolling. Rob Smith Brown is good when it's time for the Whitecaps to do the right thing and allow him to go. You know, honestly, it's difficult, you know, to get a transfer away out of the MLS, you know, into Europe, you know. It's easier said than done, you know. Given the whole structure of the MLS, it's from what I understand, it's more beneficial for teams to do trades rather than to sell a player to Europe for monetary compensation. Javian Brown a maestro. Yeah, man. Javian Brown is the complete package, man. The complete package. And we saw his very good crossing ability on display, you know, in yesterday's game. You know, to my boy the Beckford. Right? Very good cross, man. Very good cross. By the way, guys, the link is in the comment section pinned at the top. If you guys want to come on and we can talk some ball, then no problem. The man look mean, like he don't talk to people good ball. I mean, Brown. Yeah, man, him have a little, when him up on the field, man, you can see say mean business, man. Can see say mean business. Jamaica finished with 5 shots with 1 on target, while Peru had 17 shots with 7 on target. Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that action though would have taken place, especially in the second half, you know. And to be fair, barring the 3 goals, that we conceded, which all of them were mistakes on our part, even the last one, barring those 3 goals, Peru never really troubled us, you know. They just had those 3 moments where we switched off. Right? We switched off in those 3 moments, to be fair. A lot of their 7 efforts on target were tame, barring the 3 goals. In my opinion, anyway. I don't know if Bailey can play like Everton every game. He'll be on the top 5 25th. Oh, like he played against Everton. He'll be on the top 25 list of best dribblers right now. All right. In the world, though, top 25 in the world. Come on, guys. Smash the like button, guys. Easy way to support, man. Yes, Kima Roof is back. Kima Roof is back. Good to see Kima Roof back on the pitch today. Well, thank goodness Chucky Lozano will miss the Jamaica game. Chucky Lozano will miss the Jamaican game? Why? Why will Chucky... Eagle Republic, why will Chucky miss the Jamaica game? That would be a massive blessing because Chucky Lozano can be a handful in CONCACAF, you know. I've seen games with the Mexicans in the World Cup qualifying, you know, and Chucky Lozano is indeed a handful. Hit me up in the comment section, Eagle. Why will Chucky Lozano miss the Mexico game? What's your problem with John Barnes, who was unbeaten in his stint as Jamaica coach from 08 to 09 and who won the Caribbean Cup? Yes, but it was against what kind of opposition though, Coutinho? Yes, you know, he was unbeaten. That is true. But against what kind of opposition? He has the best record for the Reggae Boyz as a coach. No doubt about it. But against what kind of opposition? And again, it was a very small window. John Barnes is unproven as a manager in my humble opinion. Right? He's not an individual that you would have said achieved any sort of success as a manager. And to be fair, neither is Paul Hall. But right now, as things stand, given what I saw in that game yesterday, I have to run with Paul Hall, man. Honestly. I have to run with Paul Hall. Oh, he's on cards. Oh, he's out on cards. Chucky Lozano is out the card. What? Yellow card accumulation? You know, the thing about it though is, from what me understand, you know, from what me understand, the squad now go encourage a lot of faith, you know. from what me understand, guys, the squad for the upcoming round of qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers, is not going to encourage a lot of, you know, hope or you know, when we see the squad. From me understand it now in a two attack, but hey. Formula Yellow, what's the particular theme tonight? Anyone jumped on? No, there's no one on the live except me. What's the theme tonight? We're just talking about the, you know, what's in the title, post-match review. You know, Paul Hall in particular. You know, what took place in the game and also Paul Hall's performance as, you know, in his first game. His first match was a 2-0 friendly win over Cayman Islands. Then he went on to win the Caribbean Cup, playing 5 matches and beating Guyana 2-0 in the final. Very impressive stuff. Aston Villa Coutinho. Very impressive stuff. Very, very impressive stuff. The whole El Salvador team is in the USA working out. Okay. But yeah, man, guys, you know, continue to send your comments in and let me know, you know, what you thought about that game yesterday. What you thought about that game last night. As I keep on saying, very encouraging. Ian Campbell said Formula is the informal squad out. No, man. Informal squad. Yo, that's a good way of putting it, Ian. I've never heard anybody talk it like that yet. No, I don't have any informal squad being out. I don't know of any informal squad being out. By the way, Mexico named 30 players for this window. The Mexico squad is out already. I have to go and thanks for that, Eagle Republic. Eagle, one thing I realize today in the Eagle, you're sharp on what take place, you know. You're always on the news. I realize that today in the Eagle, you're always on the news. Always on the news. All these guys should be invited to the camp next week. Continue to learn the system. Yeah, no, I have no issues with that. I don't think some of them though. I don't think will ever really be an important part of our team going forward. But there are one and two of them that show potential for true. For true. Richard, Sir Richard, the poet. What's happening, man?
Good evening, the full sports formula. Good evening, or Formula Sports. I keep getting it mixed up, you know. Do you have a preference, or do you have to be called Formula Sports? McKenzie says TFS. So you like it, or Sports Formula, or it work for you? What's your preference?
The
What's
name
your
of the,
poison? Your cuppa?
the name of the channel is TheFormulaSports, but people just always call me Formula for short.
Respect. All right. If I may, formula it will be for this evening.
No
Formula.
problem, no
Oh,
problem.
I can ask you a question, sir, while you're checking out the comments, because we don't want to miss out the viewers and subscribers
Yeah.
and comments, of course.
Yeah, man, go through, Richard, go through.
Last night I had the pleasure and privilege and opportunity via HES Goals to watch Jamaica live and direct. It was a pleasure. I was captivated virtually from start to finish. The first half, outstanding in terms of one thing. We saw ball possession, we saw patterns of passing and movements. I thought that the final third would present problems for us as an attacking unit, and so I think it proved. But my question, Formula, because we want for a reason, I want to just hold a reason with you. When you saw, you as a passionate, avid football fan, when you saw that performance, did you feel, what were your emotions? Were you feel, in fact, I've heard you already said that you felt a little sad. Were you surprised that the coaches in Jamaica weren't up in arms regarding the quality that Paul Hall possessed, and it wasn't being translated to the Jamaican football team? Under Tapper's reign, it was chalk and cheese. What say you?
No, I agree. It was chalk and cheese. I think we have to improve the knowledge base of our coaches here in Jamaica. I
Go
think
ahead.
I think it's of paramount importance that we do. I think for far too long we have focused on the ability or the lack thereof of the players, right? And you know what will help the players to improve is also good quality coaching, which comes through a strong, solid knowledge base. But you know, Theodore Tapper Whitmore, when I think about it, the Gold Cup and the World Cup qualifiers so far could have gone so much differently. So much differently. If Paul Hall was the one with this crop of players, it could have gone so much differently because as you stated, Richard, it was chalk and cheese, man. Chalk and cheese. It was great. When I was watching the first half, I was like, whoa, you could see the patterns of play, you could see the movement, the patterns of movement, you could see the patterns of play to evade the press. You could see a proper attacking structure, right? You could see the interchanging, you could see the fluidity. There's just so many adjectives that can be used to describe what we saw. It just a sharp contrast to what we saw under the previous, gaffer. It's just the truth. It's a sad, it's not a nice thing to say, but it's just the truth, man. It's just a different level of gaffer. Different level of gaffer. Different level of gaffer, man. Honestly. Just this Paul Hall is just next level. I think this shows the difference between a UEFA Pro license coach. The game last night showed the difference between a UEFA Pro license coach and a CONCACAF B license coach. And that's one of the reasons why I made it start for swing the belt on Tapper, because I say, yo, Tapper had so many chances, one would think, to
Yes.
improve his knowledge base.
Right.
I'll give you an example. For instance, Miguel Coley, who was the assistant coach under Schaefer, right? He's now with Schaefer as the assistant in Israel, Qatar. I think it is the Middle East, somewhere in the Middle East, one of those oil-rich countries, right?
Yes.
he was doing an interview on Coaches this recently, and he was talking about the qualifications that he already had and the qualifications that he was pursuing. He had A licenses, and if memory serves me right, he was pursuing pro licenses in different confederations. So if memory serves me right, he was pursuing a pro license in the region that he is based in currently, which is in the Middle East. I don't remember what confederation that falls under. And I think, no lie, it was an Asian one. It was an Asian
Should be
one.
Asian.
Yeah, and also he was pursuing a UEFA Pro license as well.
Okay.
What that tells me, is that one, he wants to be able to travel the world and do what he does. In terms of he wants to be marketable as a coach to the highest level right across the entire globe. 1, 2, it tells me that this man is like a sponge. Because remember, in different parts of the world, you're gonna learn different things, and that's what I interpreted from it, that this is a man who is all about trying to improve his knowledge base, trying to be a sponge, trying to learn as much as he can. And that's why I'm swing the bell on top of Richard, because after JFF, helped him to get that CONCACAF B license, because when he got the job first, he was a C license coach. After JFF helped him to get that B license, he never, from the outside looking in, he never did anything to improve himself. You never heard him going to this country or that country, to study and learn, or to basically to be an understudy, so to speak. You never saw any of that. So it's like the drive and the determination to up your knowledge base just wasn't there. So it's chalk and cheese, man. And when you look at Paul Hall, you can see that Paul Hall, just the way he talks, you can tell that he's a learned individual.
Right.
Just the way he speaks, man. Honestly.
Talking of speaking, as you go through the comments, anything that's caught your eye, by the way, Formula? Anything catch your eye, sir?
In what, the comments?
Yes, because maybe there's some things that you want to address, or we can address, or I can continue asking some question as we review the Peru Jamaican game pre-Mexican World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, and I never said the squad wouldn't be good, I said that from what I hear, the squad might be a little bit underwhelming. That's what I said. I never said the squad won't be good.
Formula, you were being a little quizzical there. When you said that, my ears did slightly prick up. I don't know what insight and what inside knowledge you have, but considering the crop of talent we have, considering Paul Hall's new appointment, considering the stakes as we speak, and considering the fact that we see that the effect a quality coach can have on the team, I would imagine that whichever squad and team is picked, including hopefully the likes of Captain Jamaica, as JD coined him, Mikel Antonio, with the likes of Ravel hopefully being available, and a whole host of players, I'm expecting a pretty good foot being put forward, irrespective of those who are unable to attend. I'd be looking at who is available. Why are you angling towards us being underwhelmed? The passions should be stirred at this juncture, and the players should be ready to proverbially die for the cause. And we should expect, with the patterns of play we saw against Peru, with a higher caliber crop of players in the attacking quarter, the midfield area, and the defense, I'm expecting at least a better performance, and that would fill us with some sort of pride and optimism. Do you not agree?
No, I agree. I think ability is very important in football, in terms of the ability of the players at your disposal.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Quality counts as well. I must say, watching that Peruvian game, one of the things that struck me, as you rightfully say, I respect your insight into football for real. Quality sometimes counts when it comes down to it. To score is arguably the toughest thing in football, and when it comes to quality, whether it be in the defensive quarter, the midfield area, or the attacking third, when you've got quality with any form of capital Q, that can be the difference between 3 points and
Yeah.
going home with nada. Go ahead, sir.
And but while quality, and the ability of the players on question is very important, I think in modern day football we're starting to see where certain coaches have really shown the world that, and I'll give a proper example. Um, what's his name at Brighton again, man?
Potter,
Graham Potter.
Graham Potter, go ahead.
A coach like that is really showing that even with lesser quality players, you can still play a certain type of football against even the best teams in the world, and in some sense overachieve. Yes, it's not like Brighton is in a Champions League spot or winning the league or anything like that. But given the players that they do have at their disposal, many would think that they are overachieving. And even, for instance, in a season like last season, remember, sir, I'm right, they finished closer to the relegation zone in last season. But
Correct.
when you actually watch some of the games that they played, right, the games were, one, close, and two, they put up very good performances against even some of the biggest teams in England.
I
No,
think they drew 1-1 with Chelsea most recently, didn't they?
exactly. And
Absolutely. Go ahead.
the thing about it though is, more often than not, Richard, quality will always get you over the line. And more often than not, quality is the deciding factor, in my humble opinion. So, yes, we can look at Paul Hall and we can be encouraged by what we saw and say, we have a lot to be anticipating for the upcoming World Cup fixtures. But given the current predicament that we are in, from a standpoint of we're in a bind, right? We need things to go as best as possible.
Correct.
Right? If you understand what I'm trying to say, we need all hands on deck. We need to have the best squad as possible to really throw everything, the kitchen sink, at trying to get to Qatar right now. So, yes, I'm encouraged by Paul Hall's ability, but you still would want to have the Demari Grays, the David Davis, and all the top names that are in the running to play for us. Most of them available to play for us. It still would have been nice to have that quality to go along with the quality of the gaffer as well.
That's
That's
fair,
just
dude. That's fair, dude. By any chance, Jamal Lowe, I've got a particular, I don't know why, I've got a particular affinity for Jamal Lowe. I think he's got outstanding quality and potential. Is there any chance of him being called up? Is he eligible and is he available, as far as
Yeah,
you
man.
understand?
Yeah, man. He's eligible. He has played for us before. He has
He
scored
has
for us
played, yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if I don't see him. I would be surprised if I don't see him. Especially given the fact that we are lacking in the wing department. Bailey will more than likely not be, in the setup.
No, he's still recovering, isn't he? I think
Yeah.
Stevie G said he's due back fairly soon, but not quite yet.
I think he's due back in February.
Yes, yes, February is what I heard.
I think
So
it's in
we don't
February
expect
he'll
him
be
for
back.
now.
I
Mm.
think it's in February he'll be back. So I would be surprised if I don't see Jamal Lowe. I would be surprised. Is the quality would the team more than likely be good enough to have some good results in this round of fixture? I think it will be, but just from an ideal standpoint, you would have liked to have had as good a team as possible.
Of course, of course, of course, of course. Something that was quite intriguing. I was on IMAX it with JD for the Peru game, and I, as I said, I was on stream, and then I watched his goals and watched the performance. And one of the performances that, well, a couple of performances that we were debating on, and I wanted to get further reflections. In fact, I checked out some of the other streams, and I think I'm not sure. I think it included you, but there were vloggers who were pointing at and discussing Mr. Lamar Walker. I'm going to add Mr. Peter Lee Vassell to the equation. And I know football is a very subjective game, and the assessment of those two gentlemen's performances was very intriguing. And not only on this performance last night, but subsequent or previous, should I say, performances. Can you give me your assessment of these two particular players and their potential? Do they have the potential to be major factors or certainly effective regular squad players for Jamaica? And do you think that their careers have been hindered in any way, shape, or form by being bigged up, for want of a better word, in their earlier careers by fans as being the next quote unquote big thing? Yet they've not really done enough to warrant that kind of accolade. I'd like your perspective on that formula, as well as anyone in the subscribers and comment section.
First of all, guys, smash the like button, guys. Smash the like button. Free and easy way to support. I think Lamar Walker, his performance yesterday, there were glimpses of glamour from Lamar Walker, flashes of brilliance, but I think especially the decision making needs to improve, and also he needs to stay on his feet. It didn't really work against us that much because the referee was a soft referee in terms of any little thing he blew his whistle, so we would get a foul, right? But for other referees who won't be so accommodating, right? He was every minute he was just on the floor, right? Especially in the first half, man. More than I think Paula spoke to him about it, right? I don't know if it was his balance or just the lack of muscle mass. Whatever he needs to do to sort that out, he needs to stay on his feet, and he needs to I think he would have had a brilliant game yesterday if his decision making was not inconsistent. I think as in the final third, there were some passes that should have been made that were not made, right, by Lamar, and I think that kind of went in, against him. I think Lamar Walker has real potential, but even up to this point, I think he's a little bit behind the eight ball in terms of he's 21 years old, right? The best 21-year-old talents around the world are strutting their stuff at a higher level and are proven at a higher level, right? So I think the thing with Lamar is that, perfect example, there's this youth in the USL, like, I think he's like 17 years old. He played, how many? He played like 9 games, if memory served right, and scored like 6 goals in the USL, whereas Lamar was playing in the same USL, played like 20 odd games and scored 6 goals.
Mm.
Right? And both of them are similar types of players. So I think Lamar has ability to go very far, but I think his career needs to be managed to the T and managed properly. in order to best facilitate him maximizing his full potential. I don't think hype around him has hindered his career. I think what has hindered, I think he had the opportunity to make a move to Brazil, right? And there are stories going around as to why, that opportunity didn't come through. Now, whatever the reason for that opportunity not coming through, I think that opportunity not coming through I think he would have been further along in his development if that opportunity had come through. I think it was Vasco da Gama, right, who was,
Really?
Yeah, man, was seriously, trying to pursue the player. Peter Lee Vassell, on the other hand, I don't really know what to Peter Lee Vassell. One of the things that really hurt him, I think, was that he was unsigned to a club for quite some time. So he was a free agent to be a free agent in a young career for so long, right? For the entire 2020, he wasn't signed to a club, right? So he went like probably a year and a half, going 2 years, if memory serves me right, without being attached to a club. That would have hurt his career. He, I think, deserved a lot of the hype that he got in the earlier stages of his career, especially given what he was doing for the national team. Some people say he has kind of fallen off a bit. I would like to see him maximize his full potential, but I don't see him really and truly cutting it at a higher level outside of the USL. Right? I see Lamar Walker cutting it at a higher level outside of the USL. But I know some people might disagree with me, but I don't see Peter Lee Vassell really and truly having the career that we once thought he would. But I think that's still on for Lamar Walker. Yes, Karoom, it is a strong statement. Did you watch the game last night, Karoom? Yes, in Palal, I trust. Did you watch the game last night, Karoom? I'm sure you are familiar with the phrase chalk and cheese, as Richard would have stated earlier. Tennessee, 100%, I agree. It don't make no sense, man. The JFF should have parted ways with the previous gaffer long before they did. When they parted ways with him, it was just too late. There was no indication that Tapa was going to get us to Qatar. Absolutely none in the 8 games played so far. He should have been.
I'm glad you're reading out some of the comments. Keep the comments coming, and please hit the like, share, and subscribe button for Formula Sports. He always offers that incisive, honest appraisal as best as he sees it. Please hit the like and subscribe. We are reasoning right here, right now. Formula, when we saw images, famous images, maybe on more than one occasion of Tapper flashing off, listening to Paul Hall, well, quote unquote, and not listening, and flashing off Paul Hall on the sidelines. How frustrated were you? Did you see the red flags flying? And if you did, were you in hindsight too quiet? And let me pointedly go back to the coaches. Do you think the coaches and the JFF were too silent in terms of what was going on? Tapper's value, when I joined the wagon, the Juta bus during the Gold Cup campaign, I think it was just after the Suriname game, or the Guatemala game. Is it Guatemala or Guadeloupe? Which one is that? Guadeloupe. Little did I know, I was very open-minded, and I asked the question pointedly to coaches. There's Coach Minzy. What are the qualities of Coach Tapper Whitmore? The performances thereafter decidedly left so much to be desired. It almost beggars belief. We had famously in England here, Graham Taylor. Graham Taylor at the helm. Are you familiar with Graham Taylor?
The name doesn't ring a bell. When was that? That was probably before I knew anything
Oh,
about the English national team.
okay. I think that could be around the late. It could be the late 80s. It could
No,
be the
man,
late.
I wasn't even born in the 80s, Richard. I wasn't even a possibility at that point. Trust me.
What about Steve McLaren? Are you familiar with Steve McLaren?
I know the name. I know the name.
Okay, well, basically, in a nutshell, when England have an appointment and they are not delivering, the alarm bells are ringing. They sound out. The press get on the wagon and get on the case, and the fans are loud as loud can be in their castigation and vitriol over the coaches. And I'm just wondering, how did Tapper stay in the position so long when the identity of the team, the style of the team, the tactics of the team just weren't cutting it? And now we've got arguably the finest crop of Jamaican talent available. It just beggars belief. And I don't want to be waxing lyrical on Paul Hall overly. And at the same time, I don't want to be wallowing in what we were going through before. But it just really surprises me. It really surprises me and saddens me a lot. But as a passionate Jamaican fan, I want the best for the Jamaican team. So going forward, I want the quality to hit the road with Paul Hall pulling the strings, and we get the Jamaican fans informed and behind him and the squad all the way.
I think the JFF needs to. I think the officials in the JFF, most of them are not the most learned football individuals.
Uh-oh.
So, I that's just my honest assessment, and I think that would have sort of blinded them to the reality of the matter with Paul Hall. As I said, in the World Cup qualifiers, Tapper never even looked like he was gonna qualify. At no point in time in the qualifiers did I think that Tapper could get the job done. Honestly, man. And to be fair though, I don't blame them for not firing him before the start of the World Cup qualifiers. But I personally thought he should have been gone after the Panama game. At the very least, he should have never have coached the last round of fixtures against El Salvador and the US. I think it came around too late, man. The decision came around too late. He need to play. Peter Leverson need to wake up football now with, and he need to play with more speed and aggression. That's a fair point in a room. That's a fair point. I think he has improved on that though. He's not as lackadaisical. His style is not as lackadaisical as it once was. I remember when he was at Cornwall College. Yes, these two players obviously play different positions, but just how he comported himself on the field, it gave me a Dimitar Berbatov kind of vibe. Like not really trying. Just kind of effortlessly just doing his thing. But I think he's playing with a little bit more intensity now. And to be fair to the player, he's off the ball work, the defensive side of the game has improved. I watched a number of performances with him in the USL. He is putting in work off the ball. To be fair to the player, so I think he's trying his best to really and truly, improve as a player. So we have to give him props for that.
Formula, it's a very general question that I'm going to ask here, but if you can shed some light, that would be useful. In Jamaican culture and footballing culture particularly, how important is that phrase, hard work, hard graft, in working extra hours to ensure your game is at its highest point. For your personal point, from a personal point of view, to a club point of view, and to an international point of view. Paul Hall is going to run the eye over everyone who comes under his tutelage, and I'm confident and hopeful and optimistic, but let's see how it pans out. But where does hard work, sheer simple hard work, Cristiano Ronaldo style, the David Beckham style, working the extra hours after the training sessions to perfect the free kick, and what part does it play in Jamaican culture and football as far as you understand? I'd like to ask that to the commenters out there as well. Go ahead.
I know exactly what you mean, and I think that's a very good question. I think attitudes are changing. I think from the outside looking in, I think attitudes are changing. I think, exposure to the likes of how a Cristiano Ronaldo comports himself as a professional, and the example of others as well, I think is kind of enlightening, are changing, how even we in Jamaica kind of see the game, and see, from a professional standpoint how it's supposed to look. I think though it will never be what it should be, well, it certainly can't be what it should be now, because I think that the environment in Jamaica is still an unprofessional one. So if it was a professional environment, it would be an environment that could better facilitate those sort of attitudes, if you understand what I mean. But I think the lack of professionalism will still kind of hinder, that sort of a attitude, player manifesting that sort of attitude, so to speak. I hope I was able to answer that question well enough.
Well, it's a very interesting point you've raised. It's just begging another question, because I want to get the balance. I mean, I've grown up watching Premier League football, European Champions League football, World Cups featuring the Brazils, and I've watched a lot of top class football. Now that I'm watching and acclimatizing myself to Jamaican football, you've just actually said something that is quite eye-opening, and I just want to press you on that. What does Jamaican football mean to you and the average fan? You know that it's almost a religion in certain countries. In England here, in Brazil, the likes of Argentina, it's almost a religion. What does Jamaican football mean to you? You've already mentioned that it's not actually truly professional, which is fairly eye-opening, because that then puts into perspective and maybe helps balance the levels of expectation for the fans and maybe vloggers as well. Can you give some insight into that formula?
I think we're very passionate about it, but I think because we're not as exposed to, in terms of the behind the scenes, I mean, exposure is increasing, right? But I still don't think it's at the levels of commitment like what we see in the likes of Europe and South America. But I think it's improving. I think the love for the game is there, but we're not as exposed to what commitment to the game really and truly means, and what commitment to the game really and truly looks like, because we do have those sort of environments. I mean, even from a cultural standpoint, I don't think we have that sort of environment in our country, let alone in our football, to be honest with you. Vassal needs some pepper in him food, man, lack the required aggression. By the way, me see Karu make a comment. Duchesne Beckford. Yo, when you seen a Duchesne Beckford performance last night?
Uh-oh.
No, but don't get me wrong, I don't think the player played badly, or played poorly,
Choose your words carefully. Go ahead. Choose your words carefully. Go ahead.
I'm not choosing my words carefully. I'm just being real. Don't get me wrong. The player didn't play poorly or didn't play badly. But people raving about his performance like the youth was the best thing on the pitch. Like, I not understand that. The one little effort on goal, a trick,
Raving. I wonder if we need to get that word raving in context. There's raving mad. There's raving positivity.
In terms of a lot of people are really praising him and Richard King. A lot of people are really praising their performance in the game last night. And
well, I can tell you straight up that Richard King and Javian Brown were the two standout performances for me in terms of the young players who played yesterday. I was watching the coverage and it was in a foreign language. I loved the music that was being played in the stadium. It was very, very intoxicating. But I was intoxicated by the performances of Mr. King, young Richard King, and Javian Brown. I was impressed with their maturity, their energy levels, their determination, skill, and composure. And I think there was plenty to rejoicing there. Mr. Becksford, with all due respect, I had to ask JD who had the header, because that was a moment of brilliance. Who provided the cross, by the way? Who provided that cross?
Javian Brown.
Well.
Cross. Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
His crossing ability is well known. It's good.
We need more crosses.
He's a very well-rounded player.
Beautiful, very, very succinct, beautiful cross. Very good header. And I think that was a fantastic, with all due respect. I mean, Knight made a save earlier, seconds before, but that save by the Peruvian keeper, I mean, world class, fantastic save. I mean, the header was terrific to get his head to it and directing it like that. But I thought that was a fantastic save. But Beckford, all right, come on, tell it as it is. If you're going to tell it as it is, did Beckford produce anything better than that particular effort? It was a trying night for the attacking quarter, and I didn't expect anything. I predicted a 1-0 to Peru, and I didn't expect the cutting edge to be sharp enough for Jamaica, and so it proved. Beckford, a young prospect, and I'm wishing him well, but raving performance, raving reviews, I find that hard to give me your assessment of his performance then before we introduce the famous Guna. I can see I can see the figure. Respect you, Guna. Respect Jimmy every time. Go ahead.
Man. But I agree. I've been calling for Javian Brown to be in the squad for a long time. He's a top quality player. He's the best right back we have available to us. And it's stuff like that was such an indictment against the previous gaffer. That
Absolutely.
It is clear that a player like this is better than what we had before, and he wasn't giving him, his fair looking. Brown, don't get me wrong, I think Brown exceeded, not Brown, sorry, Beckford.
Beckford. I didn't know much about him, but as I said, apart from that header, what did you see in the performance? I'm wishing him well because he's got a future ahead of him, but it's early doors. Go ahead.
He exceeded my expectations, and I'd love to hear what Guna has to say on this as well. He exceeded my expectations.
Okay.
Right? That was his best moment of the game for sure. But apart from that, I thought he was the worst out of the front three. Not saying he was bad enough, not saying he played badly enough. But in my humble opinion, the other two in the front three, Walker and Fletcher, I thought played better than him. He was missing for long portions of the game, in my humble opinion. Right?
Was that his fault, by the way? Was it his fault, or was it the decision making of the likes of Walker and Fletcher and the defensive Speedy and Hacker? Was he not being provided the ammunition when you say that?
To some extent, I think he wasn't showing himself in the game as much as he could, but you do have a point as well. Some of it is his fault, in my humble opinion. Some of it is not, right? But I still don't think as I said, he did decent when he, for the most part, when he was on the ball. But I don't understand the raving reviews. The rave reviews about the player's performance. Guna, what you think about Duchesne Beckford? Welcome to the show.
Bless up.
Big up Formula. Big up Sir Richard. Good evening to the people in the chat. Good morning, good night, good afternoon.
Bless up, Guna.
I mean,
Every
bless up
time.
to everybody.
Go ahead, sir.
The player in question, I agree with your 100% Formula. As it relates to the front three, he didn't have a bad game, you know. I like his speed. He looks dangerous on the ball. But the other two players did better than him. However, this is the thing now. Fletcher, if you watch Fletcher didn't score, he didn't assist, he didn't. But if you watch him, he's a person that a player that I don't know. I've seen him play in the JPL, but I was really impressed by his movement. I was really impressed by his hold-up play.
Yeah. All right.
It's kind of different as it relates to our usual crop of strikers coming through from Jamaica. He seems somewhat a little bit different. Me can't put my finger upon it yet, but soon me find that out. There's something different about how he moves as a local developed player. So that but the three top players I think that stood out, as we would call them fringe players last night, was definitely Javian Brown, King, and to a lesser extent Lamar Walker. Lamar Walker need to learn to leg out the ball as an attacking midfielder. I mean to learn how to make that killer pass, defense splitting pass in my well on the ball like a few seconds too long. And you know, basically in top level football, anywhere basically, you don't get a lot of time to make your decisions. The better players make the decisions faster. So it's not just speed of feet or physical speed, it's also speed of thought. And I think he needs to get him brain in the thing where he need to show some Lucasade on him brain, think fast, have a leg of the ball faster. But overall, I think our team performed very impressively last night. I have to give kudos to the coach in terms of his starting side. But yeah, man, the fringe players, them that look like them can make an impact in the get stay. Because I would hope that they will keep the camp together. Because I think it's off season for a lot of the US players. So I think they should keep the camp together, keep these players in camp until Mexico comes around and see which one I play them can find a way into the squad. As I said, Lamar Walker, we all know this formula. We have spoken on this many times before. Javian Brown should be Jamaica's starting right back. We've said this multiple times. He's playing in the exact same league as Powell, and he's playing better in the exact same league. It's not a relegation promotion league, which is the MLS. So basically every side up on the same level until whatever. But Javian Brown is really an impressive player. He tackles well. He's aggressive. He can pass the ball. He's good under pressure. Can square the ball. So he's good going forward as well. He's good defending. And he can tuck in if needs be. If you want to play a back three, he can play centre half. So, he's a very versatile player. I'm very impressed. And also King, being such a young player, he looks technically gifted and he looks very, very composed. And this might be a surprising or controversial statement, but in last night's game, I thought he was the better for centre half. I think he looked better than Lowe. In all things taken into context.
I understand why you said that.
It's his first game, bro, and he's inexperienced. He hasn't, played international football. It's his debut. He was very composed. I like that. He can play out the ball. I like that as well. I was impressed by those three players. Well, we know about Lamar Walker already. You know what I mean? He's been in and around the squad, but it was a good outing. I didn't get to see much of Chung. I was looking forward to him. Didn't get to see much of Dwayne.
I was disappointed with the gaffer with that.
Yeah, the changes that he made, though, formula, brother. The man changes them. Me not talk the players them coming off, but
they were bad.
Yeah, boy, dog. The man shouldn't put on. Me don't know where he was trying with the midfield. Sean getting a game. You know, it's a weird one, but
Busy should have gotten more minutes.
yeah, him get like, bro, I didn't even know that he came on the field. Because when I walk away, I was actually watching the match. Richard, we're over on the same, we're over on IMAX sit out watching match also.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I stepped away,
Yep.
forget a drink, bro, and by the time I forward the match done. But me, I said, bro, you know, he didn't get enough time. I didn't see Chung, I didn't see Shaw. These are players that, you know, I personally would have wanted to see, especially Shaw, because we're lacking in the midfield department, you know. So
Yeah.
in the midfield that is coming through, with a like to see what them can do, you know.
But two things I want to talk about. Because you remember, I want to touch on a point that Guna made about the false 9 role that Fletcher was playing.
Fletcher, yeah.
You know, I understand your point, you know, Guna, in terms of, I think that Mikel Antonio, because of and the likes of Akeem Aruf as well, because of the level at which they play at, they could be able to do a job in CONCACAF at our level in a false 9 type of role. But it is not something that comes naturally to them, in my humble opinion, or it's not something that they you know, is naturally a part of their game. If you understand what I'm trying to say, they can do a job doing it in CONCACAF. That's my opinion, because you know, of the level that they play at versus the level of CONCACAF. But you know, Fletcher, and when you think about it, I can't think of any more. You know, I'm trying to think of the players in and around our setup that could really play that false 9 role, that like what Fletcher was doing. And I think, you know, me get beaten feet on coaches this last night, but I think Fletcher did very well in terms of finding those pockets of space, right? To help to provide that linkage, to link the play. I think he did very well with that. Dropping into
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think last night, the thing is, we as Jamaicans, and I am a Jamaican, so obviously I'm talking about myself as well. We tend to watch what the ball does and what you do with the ball. Remember, you know, if you do the maths on football, chances are, you know, if you add up all the touches them that you have, you probably have the ball in your possession for a minute or two, you know, at maximum, you know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. If you add up all the touches, you know, so
yeah.
You have to make sure that those touches are important, but you have to look at the other time. It's a 90-minute game, and 80 odd minutes out of that game, you will not be having the ball. So we have to look at the players them when them don't have the ball and see what them do. I like his movement, bro. I like his movement.
Yeah.
I like his hold up play.
He was
like
always making himself available to be an out ball Guna. He was to be that out ball. He was always making himself available, man. Especially in the first half. He tired a bit in the second half. But
yeah, he was tired in the second half. Yeah. But that means the movement, bro. I haven't seen that in a minute. You know, I mean, you don't usually see it from locally developed strikers unless it's like a special talent, you know. But
yeah, man.
I'm really impressed. I was really impressed by his movement last night, though. And as I said, I've watched him in the JPL, but his movement was really slick. You know, if he's in the camp with, let's say, a Michael Antonio or a Kemar Roof, you know, these guys who grew up in the academy who have been doing this from them a 9-10-year-old.
Right.
You know, I am very, very optimistic about this player. He may be one of the surprise packages, them maybe a gem that we've just found. Maybe. I do not know. Because
this boy has been balling from schoolboy football, though, you know.
Yeah. He's been doing that. But you see, schoolboy football in a formula is a thing, you know, bro. It's a thing. It produced some gems for us, but may I tell you have some ballers who mash up schoolboy football, and when it comes to making that transition, them not do it.
But
you know what I mean?
Go ahead, Formula.
All right, me just 1 second, Sir Richard, because I really want to flesh out that point here with Guna, because I think it's a brilliant point. Guna point of discussion Guna raised, because I was watching Jordan Fletcher's post-match interview last night. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I did not. Go ahead. What did you see or hear?
I was mightily impressed with how he summarized the game. I have never, just that little couple minutes interview,
Mm-hmm.
I have rarely heard a local bass player, because Fletcher just made a move to Egypt. He hasn't even played a game in Egypt as yet, right? He just made the move, so you can still almost call it same as a local bass player almost, because he has not played in Egypt as yet, even though he just made the move. But I've really heard a player who, just recently playing his football in Jamaica speak so eloquently about the game. And I bring up that topic to say that the way how he plays and especially his movement, that is technical know-how, That is footballing IQ, right? And I think we're starting to now see the fruits of the Mount Pleasant Footballing Academy in St. Anne. I don't know
Holy
if you,
Downs country.
there you go. Because
Ah,
it's,
ah.
it's it's not only the footballing development that I see with Fletcher, it's
Go
also
ahead.
the personal development as
Ah,
well.
ah, ah,
How
ah.
articulate the player was in the interview. I was shocked. I heard this young man a couple of years ago do an interview after I'm done Shellong. I think it was the Super Cup, the Flow Super Cup them days there. When he was in schoolboy football. And when I tell you, said the baller struggling at the interview, in the post-match interview,
Well.
couldn't even string two words together properly. Right? It was sad. Like, I remember watching it stood out in my mind so much, because I
Hit the
remember
like button.
watching.
Hit the like button. This is quality conversation and reasoning. Go ahead, Formula.
I remember watching the interview and I'm saying to myself, wow, man, this young man is struggling in the interview. Like when I say it was bad, it was bad. And to see the
Transformation.
juxtapose the two interviews and see the transformation, right?
Well,
Of one, how articulate he was about the game, and two, how articulate he was just generally speaking. I
proud of
think we're
him. Proud of
starting
him.
to see the fruits are Mount Pleasant.
And on a broader note, it's also fruit of an academy, bro. You see, Jamaica doesn't have many academies here. And when you play football and learn about football day in, day out, you are gonna see the results coming through very, very soon. Either it be from Phoenix Academy, either it be from Mount Pleasant Academy or any other academy that comes through. We're gonna see, because this is what has been missing from our football. That organization has been missing from our football. We have just been doing it off talent.
Yeah.
We just have some really talented and gifted individuals coming through, and that is the difference is. I'm gonna give you an example. Somebody, Elder was talking to me one time about Australia cricket team. So he was saying, back in the day, them used to get whoppings from West Indies, like left, right, and center. Until they went to video analysis and they started to find out every single weakness of every single West Indies batsman and bowler. And they say, okay, this person wants to go out outside with him off stump, I think them call it. When you go off stump with him, he's gonna reach for the ball and you can get him round this up on the wicket keeper. So you see, when certain players come into bat, they put all three people around there. So him tips the ball, it fly over and them can catch him around there. So you have someone to shuffle across the line. You have someone who do some different things. This is an old man that said this to me. And the man I said, bro, we have natural ability until Australia found out that they couldn't match us on natural ability. So they use technicality and tactics and go around with, and they became the world champions because of that. Is an avid cricket fan, this. And I'm using that to say this. You see, we have natural ability. We are naturally quick. We are naturally athletic people. If we can harness that in and use that ability, similarly to what the Africans did, because what they did, they know that they were physically strong, so they harnessed that. And I when I was in Africa at one point, and they said that there was an academy there that they used to they put out a little thing like a SOS. And we need central defensive midfielders. And every central defensive midfielder in and around the country went to the academy and pull up. So the scouts came and said, we are looking for a central defensive midfielder. We want somebody who have this and this quality, who is tall, athletic, strong, can tackle, can pass, very. And this was back in the day from Michael Essien. So when I went there, they were telling me the story about the situation. I'm like, yo, that's how they came about it. They just went and said, since you want defensive midfielder, we are technically going to manufacture them. So they got the people who were and trained them to be defensive midfield. What defensive midfield problem in Jamaica? And we don't have the defensive midfielder coming through that we're going to utilize. That's a big problem. We produce good players all the time, but we have something missing as it relates to a defensive midfielder since maybe Rudolph Austin. You know, there's another player that came through that was a good player as well. But we don't have those players coming through. You know what I mean? So we don't see it. It's not a glamour position. You know, it's a dirty work position. So we need to probably go and start so the academy will manufacture these players for us.
Target.
We can't use Manning Cup as academy. Manning Cup, all of the man they want to win. And that is what the Jamaica football is. No, the only difference I see now, Formula, Richard, is the JPs now having young players because it's not sponsored by alcohol company or spirit company. We're now having younger players coming in and playing in the JPL, and I think that's going to be a huge benefit to Jamaica's football for the next 5 years.
Agreed. Spot on, Boona. I agree, 100%. But we need to get them out of the country quickly, though, Guna. I think that's another issue that we're suffering from because look at our Busy Campbell, Busy Atkinson rather, right? Busy Atkinson was starting and starring in our local league from the age of 17. This player is going 20. We're going to make this player hit 20 and still in our league. As soon as they break out as teenagers in our league, we need to get them out of the country into better environments to facilitate their development. So that's one side of it, Guna, and you're spot on with that. But I think we need to replicate more Kahim Paris situation, so to speak. And even in an ideal world, replicate it younger. Paris.
Yeah, I think it should start younger. I think by 17 we should have players playing in the USL, and that is a big thing because schoolboy football is such a big thing in Jamaica, and it's a big marketing thing, and it's huge. Schoolboy football is huge. Is probably the biggest youth football competition in Kankeka. Our schoolboy football is huge. The marketing, the popularity of it is great. However, when a player reaches 19 years old and they want to pursue footballers and they're just coming out of school at 19, no, you should be 16, 17. You should be trying to see if you can get one professional contract or a semi-professional. Go in a USL. I think that's where we need to be. I don't think we should have any 28-year-olds wanting to be in the national team and playing in the USL. I think so. We should have 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds playing in the USL. You notice what the big clubs are doing in MLS? They're now farming out their younger players down in the USL to express themselves.
Yeah.
And then once they express themselves, then put them back in at the side and then shoot them out.
Yeah.
This is a similar situation that was supposed to happen with Peter Leverson, but he did not impress. He did not go to the USL and score 20 goals and 25 assists and light up the USL so that the team can bring him up back and say, okay, yo, you're going good. Pepe was playing in the USL recently, bro.
Ricardo
it's a slower year. He was playing. Is the USL in a player? It's a slower league, so the players can get to express themselves. So them go down there and give them training. So our 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds should leave Jamaica's Premier League and go and start playing in those leagues as soon as they even the first 2 years or so out of school. Them if you go in a USL go play, bro. Put themselves in a professional environment. Understand the pressures that come with the competition that comes with playing. You don't get complacent. We see it happening to Peter Leverson. We see it happening to Maggie. You know what I mean? Them stay in Jamaica too long. So when them go overseas now, regardless of the hype and regardless of the skills that they have, when them go overseas now, there's a lot more to this thing than just skills. There's a lot of mentality that's involved in it, psychology. There's a lot of um, personal training that you have to do as well. When you go overseas, you have to do a personal training. You have to train yourself. You have to, when everybody gone home, you have to get their free kick with a left foot kick for the next 2 hours out in the snow. So these are the hard work that our players need to be put in. You can't just, okay, I'm training tomorrow, so I come at training. The great players take their own fitness into their hands. They take them diet seriously. You know what I mean? Them the party. You know what I mean? Look at our own Leon Bailey. That's how we reach where we reach. Him just, no matter how him seem like a party person, him know when it's time to get professional and do him the same thing with the same board.
I agree.
We just need more players like those. You know what I mean?
One of the things that I wanted to talk a bit about as well too. By the way, Sir Richard, I'd cut you off one time because I wanted to make a point. You remember what you were gonna say?
The name was Tyreek McGee, and Jamaica Guna just mentioned him. Flavor of the month once, but Jamaica Guna made some very good points as to the ideal direction of our Jamaican homegrown talent, as to where their future lies and how they can best develop. So I think that was a great answer. So yeah, Tyreek McGee was the name that was springing to mind, and how he could possibly fit into a Paul Hall setup. He seems a bit in limbo in Belgium.
Maggie needs to. I'm gonna draw you guys' attention to one particular play that I think sums up why Maggie is in the issue that he's in currently in Belgium, right? He made a substitute appearance earlier on in the season where, if memory serves me right, he came on in like the 76th minute, right? There was a particular play in the game when he was supposed to track, he initially started to track the run of a player who was making his way to the byline, about to put in a cross into the box.
Mm-hmm.
He started tracking the run, and then he stopped. And the player had all the time in the world to be able to comfortably get the cross into the box. Now, it was a dangerous play in a dangerous situation. Luckily for UPenn, the cross was a poor one in the end, right? But the fact of the matter is, how can you, as a substitute with fresh legs, right, have a player to be tracking on a particular play, and you just stop tracking the run of the player? And you see that this situation is developing into a very dangerous situation. You give the player all the time and space in the world to place his cross comfortably. Luckily for them, it was a poor cross regardless. But I think that just summed up why he's not being given the opportunities in Belgium. How you can be a substitute with fresh legs and come on and lose track or run and not track runs where you're supposed to attract. With a substitute with fresh legs, who is trying to impress and break into the first team and the starting lineup, and that's the sort of effort you're putting in on a defensive play. I think Maggie needs to really, and he himself in even the interview and coaches this, you could tell that he knows deep down, because he said it. He acknowledged it. He acknowledged it, that this team requires me to play differently. But it's clear that he does not want to play like that. And the fact of the matter is, he's going to find himself in a Mesut Ozil situation where all Mesut Ozil really cared about was one side of the ball game and, minimal effort on the other side of the ball game. And in today's day and age, an attacking midfielder, the role has evolved past that. Even the best attacking midfielders on the ball in today's day and age, look at the work rate off the ball in defense.
Check out De Bruyne, Man City.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, man, go through Guna.
Kevin De Bruyne is the example I use all the time. I've said what
Absolutely.
he said multiple times as well, Formula. I say it multiple times, say,
Yeah.
bro, you as a big baller can't just expect it's a luxury thing. This is not JC. You know what I mean? This is not, oh, everybody's going to give you the ball, I the general. Remember, say,
Yeah.
go through an entire Manning Cup phase, not being able to use a right foot any at all. It was just a stick where you walk on. You understand? You have the abilities them to play a ball. You understand? Physically, bulk up yourself so you can take on the physical thing. Put yourself in the best position. Give yourself the best tools. Success is when preparation meet opportunity. You know. So prepare yourself, bro, for the job where you want as a baller. You're a
Well said.
number 10, and the number 10 role as morphed. Look at our baller there. Emil Smith Rowe. He's an attacking midfielder. Odegaard is an attacking midfielder for Arsenal. But the youth name again we play for Manchester City. You have another youth to play for Manchester City. I think we're the number 20. Wasi. He's an attacking midfielder. But them man they gonna run it down and try kick quick foot to try to take out the ball from you. Them not gonna just make it wing the ball and walk past them like that, bro.
Yeah.
So the man them just deal with it on a different level. The man them need some pepper. I mean, we have 3 defensive midfielders who have similar deficiencies in Lamar Walker, Peter Lee Vassell, and Maggie.
But Guna,
They lack aggression.
I think Lamar Walker and Vassell have improved where that is concerned, you know. I think Tyreek McGee, I think he
Vassell
has
especially, bro.
minimally.
Vassell is running now.
Yeah.
I think Vassell is. I think when he was at in a MLS, you know, they were having him like a he wasn't playing attacking midfield, you know, he was playing deeper. So maybe you know he was learning something new. But it's the difference in the formula, as I said. These academies will teach a player of a play different positions, so they will be comfortable 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions on the football field if needs be. If a team lose a player, or you know, so on and so forth.
Yeah. But Guna,
Rooney was a really good goalkeeper.
Guna, but look at Manchester City though. One of the reasons that Manchester City is so successful in a Guna is because of the amount of interchanging that takes place on the field. It is exactly the reason why you just stated why they can do that. Because the players are so technically well-rounded. They are complete players, so they can interchange all over the field and have an impact and just the fluidity and the movement which disorganizes the opposition and all of that sort of stuff. It's the way modern football is, the direction modern football is going in right now. So I mean,
it's been going on. It's been doing that from what 5, 6, 7 years now. This is a thing where they won't allow you to do anything where you want to do. All of these players are coming at you. So look at Michael Antonio. Michael Antonio was a right back in. Then he became a winger, and then now he's West Ham's leading goal scorer of all time. And Michael Antonio scored 20 goals in a season. Yet he hasn't had a 20 goal season yet.
Yeah.
So it's just showing that you keep on improving and you keep on making yourself better because this is your job, bro. But we have to understand that our Jamaican players, while we have our natural ability, we can't just rest on that. These people are coming in the game from 15, 16, 17 years. 17-year-olds making debut for international teams, bro. And doing well. Pepe is a look youth and a 2-man slap pass, bro. Pepe is a look youth. Pepe about 18 or 19. A 2 the man who pass winner, bro.
Good movement.
And the next game, the coach start him again and kick one more again and a goal. And he's a local youth. Where they play USL couple years ago, couple months ago or a year ago. So we need to understand that our players, they have no excuses because they have other 18-year-olds from similar CONCACAF regions, 19-year-olds who are at professional clubs playing professional football day in day out. Them eat football, drink, walk up and down football. They wake up in the morning football, in the night football. That's basically what them do. When them now watch videos throughout the day, they are trained. You know what I mean? This is the mentality that we have, and we are 19, 20 years old before we leave out. We're 19 years old before you leave out of high school, stop playing Manning Cup, and then you say you want to get a professional contract. The man have to leave from 15, bro.
Yeah, agreed.
Can I ask a
Low man in cup,
question?
bro.
That's true, sir.
It's
Low
yeah,
man
man.
in
It's not
and
easy.
get us a cup and go play some ball, man. Yeah, go
It's
ahead,
not
Richard.
an. It's yeah, man. It's not an easy road. I mean, schoolboys football is so. I was gonna say powerful, but it's so, as you said, it's so big. I heard about schoolboys football, and to see it, it's the most I've paid attention this season, and it is massive. So the C culture, hopefully, the coaches and the schools, the principals will be on board and flexible, pliable, and be able to be willing to communicate and build a relationship with the Jamaican football authorities. So the course for development for those players who aspire to make a career at football is easier, and they don't rely excessively on just winning cup upon cups at the and to the detriment of Jamaican football. One of the questions, though, that crossed my mind, Jamaican Guna and Formula Sports viewers and subscribers, hit the like button, please. Support the cause, share the medium. Uh, when that first goal was scored against Jamaica, I was a little perturbed at the ease in which, on two occasions, as JD said, 2 foot men, very small men, won important headers. And I got the impression from watching replay after replay after replay after
Yeah,
replay
yeah.
that Jamaica, on occasions, can be reactionary.
Switch
I
off.
mean, yeah. Is that something that Paul Hall and Jamaican football needs to be aware of in terms of when you don the colours and you go out, the importance of being switched on and tuned in, and literally and metaphorically willing to die for the cause, and being aware. I mean, those two headers, the ball went from the time it went into the box, that first header to be won, and then the second header to be won. I think it was actually between King and I think Taxi, and for that goal to be scored with an effort that I was a little disappointed that Knight didn't palm that one away. But do you think that Jamaican football needs to be wary of not switching off and not being as reactionary, and being, more forceful? That ball is going to be mine. That ball is not going to be won.
As I said, Richard, I think it's speed of thought. We have a
Beautiful.
lot of lack of concentration in our defense last night. And we've seen it not just last night. On many occasions, we have seen our defenders, Michael Lecter, even Lowe. These players tend to lose their concentration at integral parts of the game. Last night, we see Lowe did it, making a ridiculous challenge. As the senior statesman of the team, you should know better as well. So they're giving them free kick. Them little man enough to win no header last night. None. None of them man them now about 5 feet, bro.
Because of this grace, King never even jumped. And that's why I
Not
can't
to the
understand
jump, bro.
how people were all that impressed with King. Don't get wrong, King never played badly, But King made his fair share of errors in the game. His fair share of errors. But I think our technical know-how needs to improve, though. I think that's one of the things with even the Americans, I think their technical know-how is at a very high level, right? I think they concentrate very heavily on the technical aspects of the game. And I think that I don't know how much Paul Hall can do about that now, because when you have a culture and ingrained in you, and that's how you were brought up, so to speak.
What
Right?
culture is that? What is that? What is that culture formula that you're alluding to?
In terms of technical know-how.
All right, Richard.
Because that was a soft
know-how,
ball,
right?
yes, if that was match of the day, that would have been that would have been
They
a
would have
shocker
ripped
if that
them.
was match of the yeah. When I saw it, it's a soft goal.
No joke.
It's a soft goal. When
Yeah, them would have ripped them. The goalkeeper
yeah,
that
man.
get it, the defenders, them man they not forget
Go
nothing
ahead.
of this.
Three
Go
errors
ahead.
led to the goal because Knight could have do better too. Knight could
Yeah,
have
man,
Go
you
ahead.
could do way better.
back there.
Cause a looping header, bro. It's not that the ball head down the ball, It's a ball looping. It's a looping header. A looping header for these this, brother.
Yeah.
You see it? But that's the thing, that's the thing in a formula. Technical, the technical thing is this. All right. The technical thing is which part of your foot for use. When the ball come across from a specific angle, how you shape your body.
A body shape.
Where you put yourself. Yes. Where your hand there, where your foot there. And these are the things, these are the small details where the man them is on beat, brother.
Spatial
so
awareness.
physicality, we have that over them, but it's the technical aspect.
Solid point.
Technical aspect is where I beat me bad enough time, bro. Which part are your head for use? Which part you have to stand up? Which part you have to move at that? Which part? When you go down the flank, which part you put your use to square the ball so it come in from the inside as opposed to going out the outside? Look at the ball and them when them kick the ball in a slow motion and so them foot the after the ball leave them foot. Them foot still a move after the ball gone after them foot still a move. And you see which there's a last millisecond where flick, where create some deviation in the ball. So the ball can curve left, right, up, down. These are what the professional players them do. And if you watch Kevin De Bruyne kick a ball over there, brother. And the man make it look easy, but it's when you see the slow-mo, right, bro?
Yeah.
The man know exactly what he do. The goal when he score over there, when break inside and just basically pass the ball into the goal. He know exactly what he do. The man see the goal, and use the defender as a shield. So when he kick the ball, he not have a direct side on the goal when he kick the ball in, but he know where the goal is. So he just use the player as a goal post and kick the ball on the goal, the player, and the ball going at the goal, brother. So he blindside the goalie.
Mm-hmm.
These are things where the man learn from them a 10-year-old, bro.
But this is one of the reasons why
the academic situation is that it a beat Jamaican football because we have the abilities, we have the natural ability. We just need to hone it.
We saw Javian Brown when he got that crossing.
We don't have the technical know. The technical know-how we are when compared to our competitors, there is a deficit. There is a deficit, and these you'd be shocked to know how the small details can be what separates victory from defeat.
It was 1-0. You saw the 1-0. It was a competitive game. Started the second half. Traditionally, it can be a dangerous time when the game just started off. You need to get up to pace with the game. And yes, the small details. That goal could have been easily averted when the ball's in the air. If the philosophy is that ball is going to be mine. Secondly, I'm going to make it exceptionally difficult for my opponent to get any kind of header of quality on. And if they win the first one, by all means necessary, they're not winning the second one. And it's a state of mind as well as technical proficiency. It's a by any means necessary, thou shalt not pass. And I hope they've watched the video footage. Jamaica Guna, you made the point about the Australian team using technology. I hope the players have sat down, watched the video footage, and I'm optimistic that Paul Hall's messages and the players' desire and intelligence, as you said, Mr. Fletcher, Jordan has been learning from the Mount Pleasant experience, and hopefully these guys will learn quickly and learn voraciously. And we can cut out those errors, the small margins formula. You're absolutely right. And we're going to be having the margin of margins come Mexico.
Yeah.
Definitely. Any of you guys did see the schoolboy football finals today? The Black Costa Cup finals?
I'm going to watch the rebroadcast. I didn't see it live.
Well, I was watching it live.
The final? Was it Ben Francis? Was it the Ben Francis you're referring to?
No. The Costa Cup finals played today, man. Mannings versus Garvey Maceo.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, I know. I saw I'm Sure Sports was talking about it.
Garvey Maceo gave them 5 man.
Woo!
I'm sure that would not have been a pleasant experience for Manning.
Yeah,
That's one way of
Manning's
describing it.
man.
they finished the game with 10 players, and
Yeah.
it was not
Yeah,
a good
one.
look. They were 3 goals up from the first half. And this is the point why I brought this up. About 15,000 goal miss.
Uh-oh.
That's what we're talking about technical. That's what we're talking about technical. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the goals that were missed, and these are young kids, so we have to always know that, we have to caveat that, but we have to look at the development of the players them in terms of how they shape their body when they're gonna kick the ball in. And
Very
a
good
lot
point.
of that was on evidence today. There are very
Yeah.
good players on the pitch, very, players who know how to hold up the ball physically, good specimen.
Yeah.
But the technical ability of our players, because remember, this is what we're talking about, the Costa Cup and Manning Cup is
Mannings.
basically the best what we have to offer in terms of our youth players. And we are going to, let's say we're going to a World Cup, and under 20, we're going to play for under 20 World Cup, and we have players, 15, 20 players in the teams that we're playing against who are playing professional football at some club already. And our 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds playing schoolboy football.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very good point. I like Jimenez, by the way. As a schoolboy football, I've enjoyed it. It's been a learning experience. It's a fast track
He was a
experience.
starter
Jimenez
for
looks
Harbourview in the JPL at 16 in Richard.
at 16, really.
Don't get me
I'm a big
started
baller,
on
man.
that, Richard, because he should not be in schoolboy football in the first place.
He
He should not be there. You can't have a player that was a starter in the JPL going to play at a semi-professional level, going to play damn schoolboy football, man. How does that is a risk to his development and will help his development in no way, shape, or form. It could harm his development. But that's another story for another time.
You can't, at this age, you have to be, you can't overplay the players either.
Yeah.
So and these are developing players, and he's a young kid. He's a wicked player, man. That Zimenez youth is really a wassy player, man. I'm really optimistic about. He's an exciting player.
Yeah, he should be looking to make a move out of Jamaica right now, not playing schoolboy football.
Hey.
Not playing no schoolboy football, family. The man, the man, if you seek a USL contract right now, bro.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Formula.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was Coach Paul Hall had made some statements that at the time some of the coaches in Jamaica and some of the members of the football hierarchy in Jamaica was not too pleased about. And this was along the lines of his plans for Leon Bailey. Now, when I saw Lamar Walker's performance and basically how Paul Hall utilized Lamar Walker in the game yesterday, is it fair to say that, we will see a similar sort of role for Leon Bailey in the national team? And are we optimistic that, this sort of role, will get the best out of Leon Bailey for the national team?
It's a great question, Formula. That's a great question. Can you, for the viewers and subscribers and Jamaican Gooner and myself, can you just define and refine what you saw from Lamar Walker? I heard he was on the right-hand side and then also given after a while a roving role. How would you describe what Paul Hall had for Lamar before we attempt to answer the question?
Spot on, Richard. Spot on. Go through Guna.
Why? All right. You see that statement that was made. It's multifaceted. Personally, I think that is something that should have been done, even though, in all honesty, we haven't seen the best of Bailey in the yellow shirt. However, in my opinion, we have 3 players in our team which I would consider close to world class. We have Pinnock, Michael Antonio, and Leon Bailey.
And soon
Those are, I wouldn't say world class. I would call them elite players. We have, I think, in my view, we have 3 elite players. If we get the Mari grade, then we have 4. But I think we have maybe 3 elite players in our team.
Can you repeat those players again, just for reference? Have you frozen? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you hear me?
You went quiet. I can hear you now. Yeah. Can you just repeat those for the fans out there? You say Jamaica's got 3 elite players. Antonio.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion,
Bailey,
Jamaica has 3 elite players: Bailey, Antonio, and Pinnock. In my view.
Okay.
Yeah, in my view, I think we have 3 elite players.
All at a high level.
Yeah. Me feel like our 3 players, them where we have the 3 players that we mentioned, any team in a CONCACAF would want them 3 players on them side. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Any team would want a Michael Antonio. Any team would want a Bailey. If them man they can walk in a basically any CONCACAF team if they could qualify to play for them. So that me I talk about them 3 ball of them. Now, if your coach comes out and says I'm gonna build my team around the player, I don't think that's what the actual quote that the coach said, but he said something to that effect, and people run with it. If that is what he said, I am okay with that. Because I think Leon Bailey is a player who we need to be utilizing more in the team, and we need to integrate and try to find out team style of player, how he's comfortable, and try to build the side around him. He's that good. There's no more exciting Jamaican play. The only Jamaican-born player that Jamaica has playing in any of the top 5 leagues in the world is Leon Bailey. One dege player we have. Out of all of the hundreds and thousands, thousands of players.
Guna probably might be too soon, because Toulouse now in a bad situation in a league,
Yeah, them are going good,
Yeah.
It's a good. I made a comment on that, because it's a Toulouse in France, brother. Toulouse, I will for Jamaican down there,
Oh yeah, sir.
In the city.
Yeah, man, Toulouse, I will for Jamaican down there, man.
What?
Yeah, man, Toulouse, I will for Jamaican club down there, everything, man. Toulouse, I will for Jamaican down there. Him not gonna feel. Him not gonna feel well.
Feel at home.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying about whole lot of Jamaican.
A lot of musicians pass through Toulouse.
So him will find Jamaican down there, man. Trust me.
That's good.
But if we get one more, that'd be great. But yeah, big up J Taylor.
Big up, Guna.
You see it?
Yeah, man, bless up.
So you see, the thing is, brother, the coach them that came out now, Formula. See, to answer your question, the man they run out now. Why they never come out all along? What them did they? Them more tape up. Why when time top I decided to be a foolish, the man come out and say, so we say something. Every man keep quiet, but as Paul come out and say something, them run out to them bad mindself. Them for go, bro.
Guna, can you explain that? Because Formula and I were talking about that earlier. You may well have heard. Were you surprised, shocked? What was your feelings when you saw the chalk and cheese performance, and then the various coaches in Jamaica, opening up and opining as to what and what not?
So why are they opining now? Where was their opinion when we are lose match back left, right, and center? When the coach
about the performance,
it wasn't about this game. They didn't talk about this game.
It was about his comments in when he spoke about Leon Bailey.
Yeah.
In the press,
it was when he spoke of Leon Bailey and be like, oh yo, I want to build a team around Bailey and I think we can utilize him. Bro, he's our homegrown player. He's our player. We're born at Jamaica where we know our youth this. And he's the only one of all these great players that man where them a show gas on some players, some of the baddest thing alive. None of them are in a top 5 league, brother. The man them can't even stay in a USL, brother. The man them not getting contract renewed, bro. So when the people them delude themselves and I say, Leon Bailey is the only Jamaican-born player that we have playing in any of the top 5 leagues. Not in England, not in Spain, not in France, not in Italy, and not in Germany. One dege Jamaican-born player, bro. Do you know that they have a youth name? I think he named something like him name. I think he played for Watford. Bro, is him come from one of them little country. I think it's St. Vincent or one of them small country. Them have 1-2, Now compare Jamaica with let's say St. Vincent. We are a way bigger side than them, but them have 1-2. So what happened to all of our great players them that we have here? With them there?
But Gona, I was one of the individuals who actually questioned one of the coaches who commented on that, and his statement was that the observer misinterpreted his answer, and I said to him, I think what rubbed the fans the wrong way is that you were non-existent while Tupper was the coach, and all of a sudden you come rearing your head and you have something to say because now Paul Hall is an outsider. And I told him that I personally, I didn't hold anything back. I said I felt like that seemed a bit sketchy on my part. I didn't like that because Tapa was the man in the job doing nothing basically for a long time. But yeah, I jumped on shortly. Big up everybody, just to just give my 2 cents on what I've observed the first half last night. As I said, Jamaica looked like a bottom of the table EPL team in the first half, which is a positive for me. Um, that 4-4-3 that they played in the first half is what 90% of the top clubs play in Europe. Is the 4-4-3 going forward. So immediately you started to see the impact of that. What I'm even looking at is like,
Did you say
where
4-4-3?
yeah, I thought it was a Paul Hall.
Four
No,
three
no,
A
three
four
mean
three
four
three
four
them
three
play, man.
4-3-3 mistake.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
four
four
three
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 three.
mean.
Misspoke on that. I'm saying, how come nobody thought about implementing a system like that that would help the English-based players to transition easier into the team, as this is a formation that's being implemented in and around Europe, thinking that if a lot of these players in the academies, they must have had some experience in the 4-4-3 formation. So coming into the Jamaican team, that would have made the
Exactly,
transition
my bro. Because you're
4-3-3.
trying to
easy.
utilize the assets that you have.
Yeah,
If you know if you're playing football and you realize that a person is left-footed heavily, and you got pass a ball game, which foot you got pass it, pan?
exactly. So it's there was no I think there was no critical thinking behind the whole setup, and Tapa went with a static formation, which
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
4-4-2, which I
That's what
think
I
is
was just about to say. Yeah.
very outdated. I think it just doesn't add up to the new style. You can defend in a 4-4-2, but if you want to get any attacking football going, 4-4-3
A
is
rigid is a rigid 4-4-2 he was using to not
yeah.
even for 4-4-2 with variations. A rigid
You,
It
4-4-2.
was rigid. It was very rigid. It actually morphed during the game. It morphed into a 4-5-1 and a 4-4-1-1 at some points
yeah,
when he
the
had
only
Roof playing off Antonio, and
yeah
that
the
didn't work.
the only game we kind of experiment with that was the Honduras game. The Honduras game, you
The
saw that.
Honduras game, right?
Yeah, and this my
And
problem
let me
is
tell you something. The
yeah,
Honduras game in a Taylor, sorry to cut you, but the
mm,
Honduras game was just all over the damn place, in terms of what Tapa was trying to implement. Look at it. In terms of, we saw the variations in the game yesterday, right? We
mhm.
saw the variations. And look at how organized it was. It wasn't all over the place. You can't figure out. Like you watch the game and your head are confused because it just not make no sense. There's one I'll never forget this play in the Honduras game.
Right.
My boy, the Fisher was overlapping Flemo on the
Yeah,
left hand side of the pitch in Honduras. The right midfielder was overlapping the left midfielder
My lord, my
in
lord.
the
yeah,
Honduras
yeah,
game. Tell
yeah.
me that no
But
make a
no, that
sense.
that in that game they also implemented this rotational play where at
They
points
switch.
yeah, Flemings was at points I saw O'Neill Fisher at center back, um like when a play on certain set plays or certain plays where someone needed to cover for one of the center backs. So I think they were doing this kind of rotational thing.
Yeah,
My
but
thing, yeah,
Taylor, that's interchanging.
yeah,
The
rotation,
right, if you're
interchanging, yeah,
interchanging the right and the left midfielder, fine, I have no issues with that. But when the
yeah.
two of them dep on the same flank at the same damn time,
No, no,
makes
formula.
no
I'm just
sense.
trying to make sense out of Tapa's madness. I'm not saying anything here was
Yeah,
acceptable.
yeah.
I was just trying to bring some clarification to that. But with the 4-4-3, I think immediately you saw the results, or you just starting to see a team looking like they're ready to do something. I was
It looks like you
impressed.
got 4-4-3 in the mind. There's
Four
no
three three,
4-4-3.
four three three. Oh God, that's a lot of players. That's 11 players, right? Sorry about that. 4-3-3. What it did, it enables us to get bodies around the football quickly. I think in that first half, Jamaica won the football back under 5 seconds over 20 times. That
Good
was
pressing.
impressive. That was impressive for me. Over 400 passes. We already, if you're going to evaluate, as Guna spoke about the Australian thing with the cricket, that's something I know a lot about as well. They also was the first team to bring in a sports psychologist in cricket to change the mindset and have them believe.
You're a cricket man,
No,
Taylor. How you know about
just my grandfather watched cricket, but I love sports. So if your
that? Okay, cool.
grandfather is watching cricket, it's there. But I looked at it. It was a way to change the mindset. Where Australia is starting to believe that even if they had 100 runs on the board to defend, they could win. Because the mentality is also very important. As you can see, Renrick at Manchester United, one of the first thing he did, brought in a sports psychologist, because he knows that when a player is not plugged in mentally, it can affect their game. Marcus Rashford, that's what's happening to him at Manchester United. He's out of sorts, like he's all over the place. And you can see it's not, Marcus Rashford is a good player. So it's obviously something going on either mentally or outside. Not saying Jamaica should, I don't know if we could afford that right now, or do we have one? That's not important. Last night I was still though a bit disappointed with Paul Hall keeping players on the pitch where you brought other young players in those similar positions where you wanted to see those players. However, I think it was a thing where he probably didn't want the score line to get out of hand, because a score line on the internet can give you the wrong idea. Jamaica just pick up 6 in Peru, even though you didn't see the entirety of the game. That's just the headline, 6-0 Peru. You know what I mean? So I think maybe he wanted to just rein that in a bit and say, okay, 3-0 acceptable. But I strongly believe that a busy Atkinson could at least get a 15 minutes in the game. I don't think
But Jay
Lamar.
Taylor,
Yeah.
if that was the case and he wanted to keep it basic,
Mhm.
you're gonna take off the most tired person on the football field, which is I don't even mention his name. We realize the whole time of their family, I'm gonna talk about that man there.
Yeah.
Because
Well, he
I'm
didn't
trying
have
to
a bad
avoid
first
talking
half,
about myself.
He didn't have a bad first
It
half. This
did.
is where
No man,
no,
my worst player on the football field, man.
no. All right. So me
Check
and
the stats,
someone.
man. The worst player on the football field.
Hold
The
on, Taylor,
first,
you're
all
defending
right,
that?
all right.
Yeah, I'm defending Haka, and I'm
What?
not defending
The
Haka being in the
first,
squad. But I will after going. I
him
will.
tired. I was clocking him. Him tired from I think it was 27 minutes.
You clocked him.
Yeah, I clocked him.
You were
At
clocking him.
27, I think it was 27 minutes. Him done for right there. So 27 minutes.
Lot of mercy.
Right? Okay, cool. Now, if he wanted to keep the scoreline respectable, we were effectively playing with 10 men because that player stopped moving. I was saying, okay, he went into the half and he was going to take him off at that point. He still brought him on back. Came on, he come off the field, we done in an 88 minutes. You know? So if you're gonna blood a new player or whatever, put in some fresh legs. But the point that I was trying to make, Jay Taylor, is that he put on most attacking players.
Yeah,
He put
yeah.
on a lot of attacking players yesterday, so he wasn't trying to keep the scoreline respectable.
Scoreline.
You mean for substitutions?
Yeah,
No,
Yeah, but
man.
that's
Most of the substitutions he
Sean,
made
we're
were defensive
defenders. We're
substitutions.
defenders
him
actually.
take off.
It's only
But the man
two.
that went put on back, the man that went put on weren't defend. The man that went put on were defenders.
Yeah,
And one
yeah,
defender
yeah.
I seen put on, you know.
Him
Well,
put
who
on
is a
Howell, the
seasoned
right
defender.
back. Him put on Thomas, the left back, and him put on the
Topi.
Topi at
Topi
centre
is a
back.
centre back. Yeah, Topi is a centre back.
He took off when named the Beckford for Atkinson, which should have been done
Atkinson. Earlier, right.
Well, this wasn't a direct substitution, but basically I think I rose him name
And him take off
was
lower.
playing where Vassell was.
Yeah, so let me just
So
explain.
we just say they were
Okay.
50-50 then, to be honest.
Yeah, the thing with Ahaka was I'm saying is the team was playing well enough in the first half where he wasn't necessarily hurting the team. I do agree with Guna that just hear me out. I do agree with Guna that he was a liability. However, I saw in phases where people actually made fun of that, where he was directing traffic. So people start saying, was he a traffic cop? He actually directed a ball into the defender, into the striker, so they could score. So he obviously was directing
He had
traffic.
an assist.
Yeah, he had an assist. So what I'm saying is he was helping to keep the shape of the team, giving out instruction defensively on a couple positions that I saw. I'm just saying that's what I've seen in the first half. However, he wouldn't have made it back out of that dressing room for me in the second half. We have seen enough. Um, I was just questioning what was the role of having him on the pitch. Was this his send-off game? I couldn't figure it out. He's not going to play against Mexico. So are we trying to get him fit? So I wasn't really buying into it. This one
What
thing
was the score at halftime?
0-0.
Okay, good. And what was the score 10 minutes into the game?
Yeah, we conceded.
10 minutes into the second half. Sorry. 10 minutes into the second half. Who's conceded a goal, bro? That man they bust from 27 minutes out, bro. I was clocking him.
But good, Jamaica conceding a goal in the second half wasn't just the solely on Haka. This is a problem that Jamaica has been having for a while.
Yeah. I don't necessarily. I think I blame one of the goals on him because he assist. He did something else before that though. He did one in relation to one of the goals previous before the assist. He was the person. I think he lost the ball or he didn't put in his work and it fell on the centre back. So I think
Was the free kick?
Yeah, he made a tired tackle as well because he
a tired tackle. Right.
The free kick led to the goal, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me.
Him cast one of the goal, them man before the assist.
But let's look at the statistics. Jamaica tends to give up a goal within 15 minutes of the second half in a lot of games where we just turn off. This is a thing that I hope Paul Hall had jotted that down, that I have to get my team plugged in from the whistle on the second half. I noticed this thing. We have this letdown. I don't know if it's that we get confident that we basically survive the first half and we just come out a bit lackadaisic, not
lethargic.
Yeah, are not just ready to go. Like I don't know what's that.
Taylor, I think that could also be the opposition team making adjustments and we are slow to react.
Well, under the previous head coach, because I saw Paul Hall made a very good adjustment in the first half where they were exploiting the right hand side with Javian Brown because he was getting caught out of position quite early, and I saw where Paul Hall kind of shifted some support to him where the winger tend to be a little bit more defensive, and immediately that year he solidified.
I think him tell my boy to talk. Him tell Walker. That small little tweak there. You see them little tweak there, bro? Yeah, where you can see in the game, bro. That's as I said last night and I was on a watch along, bro, and I was like, yo, bro, this is all down to coaching, brother. You can't see them money work off of coaching, bro. The team is so organized. It was like not watching Jamaica, my G. No joke. And we're not talking about the first team either, bro. We're talking about maybe the second string, third string, you know what I mean? New players coming in trying to be blooded. If Paula gets better players, I'm certain that we can fall into a system quicker. We have faster thinking, bro. I'm really confident, bro.
Guna, with better players, Jamaica potentially would have went into that half 1-0 up, because with turning the football over from getting the opponent to turn over the football that quickly. What we were missing is that cutting edge pass in front of the 18. Also, as I said, Jordan Fletcher, to me, he reminds me a bit of Ricardo Fuller. He can beat players.
You think Fletcher did well too, JT?
I think he did well with
in the first half.
Like in the first 20 minutes of hold up play and his positioning. But I know he's not a clinical player. And I think Lamar Walker threw him off his game because there was moments where he made that run and he was expecting the football. And Lamar Walker does what Lamar Walker does.
Man, hold on on the ball, bro. Family, I just said that a while ago, man. Yes. The man hold on on the ball, brother. The man supposed to be a playmaker, dog. The man is a play stopper, brother. The man now make the pass them, bro. That killer pass where the man for make for the ball for run. Cause the man dog, no, but me watch him, man. No people no see it. The youth have the ball running. It's great,
but
bro.
He's not doing it.
No, he was selfish. I think Lamar Walker was trying to cement his game for the next window. I thought that was what it
Yeah,
was.
but you see, the thing
That's
is
what
where
I
the
thought.
and no, but this is where the technical know-how comes into play, because if he had a different kind of brought ups, right,
Mm.
he would know that doing the right thing is what will facilitate you getting into the World Cup qualifying squad.
No, I
Precisely.
think Lamar Walker, he's very Junior Fleming-esque in his decision making. He is he makes the wrong decision at the right time, where when he needs to pass, he doesn't, or when he needs to just do nothing, he does something. He's always on time doing something wrong. Is a player who can't seem to stay upright. You can't play football laying on your back. I find an issue with that. It's like as the wind blowing the stadium, this man is on the turf. On the surface. I hit the gym,
Virgin,
work.
me I did a watch along Taylor. Yo, it was so frustrating.
It's frustrating, man.
Go through, man. So
He
frustrating.
he was and we saw that in the Gold Cup. He was like a ping ball or pinata, the Mexican thing that with them a lick and the candy and thing fly out. The man just a bounce off of players and all over the park. No, Lamar Walker, y- I'm starting to think that he's not a quick, a fast learner, because how many years has you been in the USL? And for me, playing under certain coaches, one of the worst thing you can do is for a coach to hate you quickly is to hold up the football too long. Coaches hate that because you're going to kill the play. That's why I cannot agree with anyone saying that Lamar Walker had a good game. Yes, he had the ball in good position, but he killed the play. Speedy Williams silently improved throughout the game, because I spoke. I said to his uncle on Ryan LFC stream the other night, I said, "Sir, one of Speedy Williams' problems I have is he's getting rid of the football too quickly when he has time with the football, and then he puts our defenders under pressure, and Damian Lowe makes that big boot out and create a 50-50 ball. We need Speedy Williams to understand his positioning and know when he's not under pressure and sustain the football and deliver the football to your outlets." And I think he did that after a while. He started off early in the game just doing those safe passes. A lot of times people don't know. This is why I don't buy all these stats on the screen. A player can have 100% pass rating, but it's 100% negative passes. I believe that. I believe that there are passes that kill build up play. And a lot of times, Speedy Williams put the defense under pressure. Not last night as much. He is improved through the game, and he became one of the most solid players out there last night. He handled business. I think Speedy Williams was speedy last night. Beckford, as you said, for me, he was a poor man's Damari Gray. Very direct in the way he wants to approach the game. I think he was a player who made a statement for himself last night. You saying he was one of the least best strikers. As I said in the chat, this is the only time me and Formula probably ever disagree. That guy was one of the guys who made a case for himself last night. Him, and as I said, the man of the match for the entire game was Richard King. That
One,
player
one,
was the man of the match.
1 second, Taylor. 1 second. 'Cause I want to touch on this a little bit. Go in depth with it a little bit. I watched this game 2 times. How me no see what uno see with
Watch
this
it. Watch it again. Watch it
Beckford
again.
brethren?
Watch it
So
again.
3 times I need to watch it
Me and you,
for
me
see
and you are
Beckford
like
ball.
Formula. Cause me no see it. Me like
All
him
right.
direct running. Me like him pace. Me like him. It has pace and it looks dangerous when he run at you. But
In the
nah.
first half, in the
As me
first
say,
half,
him never go
in the
through
first half
Taylor.
formula, where was Jamaica penetrating most? It was down the left hand side.
Don't, but
Yeah, that's
it
true.
was mostly on the right.
There were moments. No, where was when did Lamar Walker switch over? Well, Lamar Walker came over on the left.
Him
There
He
tuck
was
was
him in.
playing.
No, Lamar Walker never switch. I think he may just stuck. I think they wanted them. They
one
wanted
on
the attacking midfielders to play a little closer. I
In
think
the
that was a
first half,
key.
who was playing on the left in the first half? The left
Beckford.
wing.
on the left.
On the
No
left wing.
man. On the left wing it was Walker,
It's meant to be
man.
No, bro.
Walker,
Fletcher.
man.
It was a
Walker
Walker,
was
man.
playing down the left, man.
Guys in the chat, let me know who was playing down the left wing.
Was
Yeah,
it
man.
Fletcher? Was it Fletcher on the left and Walker on the right? Wasn't that the original
No,
setup?
man. for the most part, Walker was the one that was on the left and Fletcher was playing through the middle.
Walker.
Occasionally, there was
Yeah,
some interchange
yeah.
based on the
Walker was Walker did.
Walker
Yeah,
was on
Walker
the
was on the left.
Because he got fouled. I remember he got fouled on the left. But
Yeah.
Yeah, he
however,
was on the left.
him
My
and
bad.
Javian Brown down that right hand side, they looked a bit dangerous to me. They just looked like they had that twitch that you needed to make. Because I always talk about, when I talk about the press, what people don't understand, we discussed this with Manningsman last night. The press, I look at it this way: the intensity that you win the football with, you're supposed to attack with that same intensity. That's how you catch players out of position and how you have numbers on them. And I felt like
Attack the space.
Jamaica looked like that in the first
That's
half
another
an
very
hour.
good observation, Taylor.
Yeah,
It's something that killed us on the topper in terms of that attacking transition. When we won the ball, the players were not. There was not that sense of purpose when we won the ball.
because we were playing a low block, soak up pressure, and hit the long ball for the
And try
corner.
eat on the break. Something like what Tottenham them do, where them soak up the pressure and try eat it on the break. So
You need
Chalk and cheese. It was chalk and cheese day and night in terms of the performance. That's the best way that I can describe it, and many others. I was captivated from the whistle when I saw what Jamaica were doing, and I was highly encouraged and delighted to see what I saw. The guys weren't panicking when they got the ball in midfield. They had the opportunity to turn, pass it back, pass it forward. There was structure. There was linkage play, and that's why probably we're frustrated for the most part with Lamar's contributions on occasions, because there were positions where there were willing runners, and he was dwelling on the ball a little too long without paying attention to the quality and putting the quality pass on when it mattered. Very, very interesting. Very interesting evening. Very interesting evening.
You're right, Sir Richard, man.
Taylor made a comment though. He said Brown and Beckford look dangerous going down the right. I want to talk a little bit about that, because I noticed something with that combination down the right that I've never seen Theodore Tapper Whitmore use in his wide play, right? In terms of how he exploits the space in the right half channel, and also the right half spaces rather, and also the right wing channel. If you noticed, there were some places. So when Beckford found himself wide with the football, Brown was making an underlapping run.
Him talk. Yeah, you see that formula? Him talk. Yeah.
Yes.
When my boy go up on the outside, my boy tuck in.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was the fullbacks had more attacking purpose in terms of, from a number standpoint, creating those overloads in wide areas, in dangerous spaces, that numbers advantage that a lot of the big coaches use to, exploit space in dangerous situations. And also, whenever Brown found himself on any particular play in the wide channel with the ball, Beckford was tucking into the half space, and that's how even the big goal scoring chance that we had came about, with the numbers in that more central space. When Brown had it, Beckford made the run.
Very great observation, bro. Very great observation.
We never saw that on the topper.
Nope. You know what? The coach. So the Peru coach. I'm tweak back him left
formation immediately,
and tweak the formation and get back on our midfielder then for drop back. So I said, what you man fix up inside? But them not gonna do that, because the man them. You remember, I've been watching. I watched couple more CONCACAF related channels, and you know what? One of the biggest thing they said about our previous coach, naivety. Because they are watching small tweaks during the game. Just Paul are coming to a player and say, listen, me do this. I see it just at the same time. The organization, you realize that last night we actually put on the ball and played. You realize we weren't afraid to hold the ball. We did not want to panic. And as J Taylor just said, I just feel like Speedy is one of our best passers, or like overall. He's one of the best passers in the Jamaica side. He's one of our most underrated players,
Safe
but he's
pass.
one of our best passers. And him let go the ball too quick, much time. Enough time for hold on the ball, look more longer.
Yes.
Because when I give the ball to some man, the man hold on the ball where them can make a good pass, and he's the person who can make a good pass.
Yes.
So last night I saw it, and I'm like, whoa.
Improved,
Is this
right?
Jamaica side, seaside this?
Whoa. Yeah.
The man,
Jamaica
I
seaside.
think the man were actually instructed not to pass five passing under the previous coach. If you pass,
Five
if you
times
make five pass, you get them
Dexter's
five.
lab. Dexter lab, come
Guna,
in.
If you make 5 passes, I put you up on the
You get
bench.
that, you get that five,
Guna,
brother.
when
Yeah.
Formula made that point, it brought like joy to my soul, to be honest, because that was a highlight moment for me. I look at football as a chessboard out there, and you have your pieces, the other coach has his pieces. And this is where the tactical battle comes in between the coaches. From the whistle, you could see Paul Hall coaching. Under our past coach, he stand up like this till we start lose the game. He just stand up on the sideline looking. Paul Hall was on the ball from the first whistle, giving instruction. That's what I want to see from my coach. That's
And what
what
was
I
beautiful
want.
was the reaction. The beautiful thing was there was a reaction. Must say clearly there was a reaction before the game and during the game. And I'm hopeful that after the game, when they look at the video, there will be a further reaction. So that's synergy. Would you agree, JT, that
Yeah,
the lines of respect and communication of message and intent is
yeah.
very much on the up?
Sir
It's on
Richard,
the up.
them know big coach when them see big coach. Go ahead, Taylor.
I think that speech after the game, Paul Hall probably enjoy telling the players, pick your head up. You lost the game, but you didn't really lose the game tonight. You carried out my instructions. That's what I wanted to see. Because the players that he started as well, was obviously the players who picked up his system the fastest and was able to carry out his instruction. And those were the things I was looking for immediately. But I immediately saw Paul Hall hands at work. Literally, when he talked about Formula, talked about tucking on the winger, and this goes back to when Guna spoke about the Jamaican coaches coming out and speaking. This is what Paul Hall was saying. When you have a winger like Leon Bailey, these are some of the small things you do to get a Leon Bailey moving. This is what you do to get Leon Bailey in the game. This is how you get Leon Bailey more effective, by giving this instruction to your wingbacks to do this when he does this. And when those coaches came out, they just jumped out the window without actually soaking up the information and then analyzing it correctly. And I saw that immediately, because if we had a Rovell Morrison alone from England last night, we got a result in that game.
100%, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Just
I
a
can't
man to
disagree.
pass that ball through them look a pocket of space. The way
No, but
Fletcher pick up,
I will even take it a step further. If we had anybody else except Haka, had any decent player other than Haka, because I'm telling you, Haka is an albatross around our necks in the attacking transition. He's stifling. Or you realize that in the attacking transition, we are
Man, go
playing with
albatross.
10 men. No, it's the truth,
You
Guna.
got albatross, bro.
Guna is the truth. He is stifling our attacking transitional play. It is the truth. In one of the moments of the game, which is a key moment in the game, probably the most important moment of the game, we are playing with 10 men. We are playing at a numerical disadvantage with Haka in our attacking transition. We cannot win like that. You mute, Taylor.
Even to add to what you're saying, we need to even give the team more credit that we played so well with 10 men. Literally.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if we played that well with 10, listen, just last night I was just I was relishing in the moment, fantasizing having a Mikel Antonio out there last night with Jamaica actually getting possession of the football, in the opponent's final third. That was a sight to see. Like, and Peru could not hold on to the football the first half. They were just turning it over after,
Yeah,
because Jamaica, Peru didn't expect this Jamaica team to come out like that
yeah.
either last night.
Taylor, you
Mm,
spoke about the numbers,
yeah,
around the ball, though, and earlier in the video. And that just wasn't only, that was on both sides of the ball, in both attacking and defensive transitions, We
yeah.
got numbers around the play very quickly, right? We were what's the word eludes me right now, but when you have that numerical advantage around the play in both
Mm,
attacking and defensive transition, right? Perfect. Under the previous gaffer, I said it a million and one times. In attacking transition, there was just too much space between the players on the park, too many gaps between the lines, too much
yeah.
distance between the players and the park. You cannot facilitate good build-up play, right? And connectivity with so much distance between the
You
players.
give the opponent too much time to reorganize. It's just common sense, and that's what Paul Hall did last night. He played a higher back line.
Harass hunting packs,
All
small
right,
packs,
that's
harass.
the
No,
word
but
of the point. That's the exact word that summarizes the end. I don't even have to say any more on that.
you saw the link up taking place, You saw the triangles taking place, right? And it's those little short passes that help to break the lines, and progress the play, And Tapa never understand that even in defensive transition. You saw when we were getting bodies around the Peruvian players very quickly and giving them very little time and space on the ball in the
Because
first half.
when you do that, you then put the pressure on the other team to be flawless in their playing style.
Exactly.
That's what you do. As what Richard said, when someone harasses you, you have to be really calm and patient to be able to just weather the storm. And Peru wasn't doing a good job weathering the storm last night. And for the press to be effective, that's what has to happen. You have to have players around the football in certain areas. You can't give teams, and this game to me last night was a blueprint of how we need to set up against Panama, because Panama plays a similar game to Peru.
Fair
They,
point.
yeah, yeah. To me, I felt like I was watching Jamaica versus Panama last night. I'm like, okay, Paul Hall, this is what we need to do against. I
Fair
don't want to
point.
look that. I don't want to look that far, because the Mexico game is a World Cup finals for Jamaica. We lose, we are out. It's not. That's
Yeah.
it. Where we're just playing because we have to meet our what do you call this? So we have to meet our
Formalities, mere
yes,
formalities.
yeah, and play the rest of the games or requirements. So
Yeah.
this
You
game,
feel say if we lose Mexico match, we're out?
oh dude, for sure.
It
And
I
Panama
wouldn't say
wins.
that. It depends on if Panama wins. If we lose Mexico and Panama wins, we are definitely without a shadow of a doubt out.
Come on, man, we're gone. We're going
If we
like
lose
gone.
Mexico game and Panama loses as well, the task will get even more difficult, but still attainable.
Nothing really changed. Well, it depends. But now
A
you
game
put
less.
And then now you throw Costa Rica in the fold again.
There you go.
You know
There
what I
you
mean? So that's what people have to understand. We're not the
go.
only team trying to get the fourth spot here.
Yeah,
Sometimes I
exactly.
hear people speak about that.
Gen, gen,
I said it, I said I don't think I personally believe that we have to go for the 9 points so that we can make ourselves comfortable in the next round. If we try even get 7, we
Yeah,
can't lose any more matches. That's my opinion.
yeah.
Same
Gentlemen,
here,
can I
man.
If we can't
Go
lose
to
no more
sir.
matches, we'll be in problems.
Go
can
to
I
sir.
ask a can I ask a question? Two questions. If I say footballing smarts, footballing smarts as it relates to Jamaican football, what say you? The second point is, what can we learn from our CONCACAF rivals going forward? Can you answer those two questions for viewers and subscribers? Formula, please can you encourage the good folk out there to hit the like button to share your excellent content and the coverage here. We are reasoning in order, and we want this to go far and as wide as possible. But for those listening, keep listening and enjoying the reasoning. Footballing smarts, and what can Jamaica as a footballing nation learn from our CONCACAF rivals? Sometimes I think that we um, underestimate our rivals. Formula Sports, we were talking about the Brighton and Manchester City, or Brighton versus the big boys of the Premier League analogy, where smaller teams can sometimes be more than the sum of their parts with highly organized, intelligent performances. Go ahead, panel.
To answer the latter question, there's so much that we need to learn from our rivals. It's not fun because you know what's so crazy? The rest of the Caribbean is catching up to us, right? The Curaçaos, the Suriname, they are becoming more organized and they are very aggressive in their pursuit of their, foreign-based, players, in foreign jurisdictions that are eligible to play for them. I think we need to follow suit in terms of that level of organization, that level of professionalism, and that level of aggression and serious intent with regards to bringing in these foreign-based players. And there's so much we need to learn from the likes of a US and a Mexico. I mean, some of the things we don't have the resources to be able to implement, but you know, I don't even know if I was to answer that question, we'd be here another hour. If really and truly, there's so much we can learn from even just our CONCACAF rivals who are gaining ground on us quick and fast. I think St. Kitts, if memory serves me, St. Kitts played El Salvador, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I'm going off memory. In the World Cup qualifiers in the round before the final round, right? I think it was St. Kitts. It was one of the teams in the final round that played that is now in that round that is now in the final round with us. And St. Kitts held their own. Yeah, honestly, man, it was surprising.
Formula, if I was you, I wouldn't lose sleep over St. Kitts. I think those guys are, and those rest of the Caribbean teams, however, they are improving. But I think Paul Hall for me, Paul Hall being the coach, that solves 60% of Jamaica's problem.
But no, me not agree with that though, Taylor, because
Okay.
I see what you're saying, but me not really talk about the immediate problems. I think you're speaking about the now. Fine, fair point.
Going forward.
The future. I am losing sleep over Curacao and Suriname, right? Me not.
One bit.
Suriname,
Suriname,
on the rise.
bro.
Keep an eye on
See, Suriname, they
Stanley
changed their
Menzo.
rules, They changed their rules. They had something, I think, within their constitution that
Yeah.
grandkids couldn't represent the country, something like that. And now they changed it so that the grandkids of can represent the country, because they're under they were a department of they're basically Dutch.
A Dutch colony.
Dutch Guyana. Suriname is Dutch Guyana. But them bust up the Guyana, them in a tree, one a English, one a French, and one a Dutch. So them are the Dutch Guyana. So those are guys that we need to worry about, because that technically gifted players are in Ireland. If Martinique and those guys started to become less of a department and more of a country, we'd be in problems as well. Because Martinique is a department of France. They're basically France. But
yes, even them too. Even them.
yeah, if they were to become a country, it will be a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Curacao beat us in the Caribbean Cup too.
They will not be taking care. Anthony Rogers saying Taylor Curacao will take care of Jamaica. None of these teams will be taking care of Jamaica. Guys, what you guys need to know, we had a good team. It's like, as I told somebody earlier, it's like you give a kid some good books for school and him eat the book page them. That's what the coach did. He destroyed the team. him tear out the whole of the page and make the boat and the plane. You know when you used to go to school and you make the little boat and the plane, the man tear out the whole of the page out of the hardcover book.
Yes, the man need to learn at school. And just a tear out the book.
Yo, funny enough, I use a similar analogy. You know. I said they were given a Bible and them retired the Bible and started to use one of the Watchtower pamphlet them.
Yeah, man.
Let me tell you something. You see, Taylor is the king of analogies.
Analogies.
Yeah, they just come though because it just I can't understand what. So this is what I'm saying to you guys is people are saying that Curacao are gonna take care of Jamaica based on what happened. If Paul Hall had all those players, my friend, Jamaica would be cruising in this World Cup qualifier. If Paul Hall started out, but we would have been cruising right now.
All right, Taylor, the perspective that I'm looking at it from before we get to Eagle Republic comment on the screen, the perspective that I'm looking at it from is the, comparing and contrasting the federations.
I'll be right back. Make a cup of tea. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, man, the federations of the respective jurisdictions. So you have, the federation for Curacao and just how seriously they take this thing and how seriously they go about their business, right? And then JFF have played Andy Shandy. JFF played Andy Shandy, and that is what concerns me and worries me in terms of, how the respective federations are going about their respective business.
Yeah, you have a point there, saying the formula. Yeah,
it's a good point.
I'm not worried about the talent we have available to us, Guna and Sir Stewart. Federations concern me.
Yeah, you're right.
That is what concerns me. Because when I see the ground that they have made on us in the short space of time, I have to be concerned. Two things that I wanted to talk about before we get out of here. Playing out of the press. I have never seen a Theodore Tapper Whitmore team play out of the pressure as well as I saw the team play out of pressure against the Peruvians last night. What do you guys think about that?
So you're talking about footballing smarts, I guess, answering the second point of the question. I was highly impressed with what I saw. I just want to know if it's is it a false dawn, or are we witnessing the sparking of Jamaica's footballing smarts? We know we've got the Mikel Antonios, we've got the Kamar Roofs, who are plying their trade in the Premier League, but it was highly encouraging to see those players, as I said, willing, ready, and able to get out of those press situations, feel comfortable on the turn, passing the ball around. And this is something that you guys may well have been brought up with through watching the Premier League, Premier League and Champions League for decades, and seeing that kind of play has been bread and butter, standard procedure. But to see Jamaica implementing it, I thought, okay, we're seeing some footballing smarts. Are you confident in footballing smarts for Jamaica at all levels, and considering the culture and relatively new nature and growth of the game? Go ahead.
So, Richard, the last time I saw this was under Winfried Schaefer, and that was what, half a decade ago?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Guna likes that. Guna likes that.
This the other day, and people are telling me about, and people are trying to bun me out. I was saying the best football we have played is under Winfried Schaefer. When you race him and put on ball and knock ball around and play sexy football and no panic when they have the ball under pressure, and people forming triangles and people helping out their teammates, and everybody hungry to get the ball on their foot. And if a man see him friend over one part, the man them go over there and group up and try to get him out of a situation. That's how football is a team sport, bro. And what I saw last night, bro, one dege match, fast down or not, make it more enjoy the fast down. One single match, I see a style of play in 90 minutes that I did not see in 5 years.
My lord. Mm,
So
mm, mm.
imagine the upside to that, Richard and Guna. Think about the upside. That's what Guna said. In 90 minutes, he have seen more from a team than he have seen in
Yeah.
5 years. Think about the upside we have to improve.
Sir Richard, I don't think it's a false dawn. We here talking about how Jamaica played out of the pressure. And one of the things that I had mentioned, while Tapa was the coach of the team, was that I didn't see any patterns of play designed, any patterns of play and patterns of movement designed to break the press. I saw that last night.
I
I
saw
saw the
everything.
patterns of play.
Hit the
Yeah.
like, hit the like,
I
hit the
saw the
like
pattern of
formula.
movements.
Yeah, man, and I'm really enjoying this live. By the way, Formula, the way you're articulating what I've seen last, because sometimes it take a certain individual to help to bring stuff like that out of your mind, and you're just hitting the nail. No, I'm being honest, bro, because sometimes I'm talking to people, they're coming at me from a place of, you know what I mean? A Jay Taylor that him come he rub people the wrong way, because I triggered a few people last night when I jokingly wrote in the comment that Richard King is better than Ethan
Me,
Pinnock. And
me know that truly there too.
and
Me
that
know why I get make a dry mouth.
I mean that just set off a wildfire.
Yeah.
Obviously, the player is not in the class of Ethan Pinnock, but what I do know is he's a good future replacement for Damian Lowe. He does exactly what I hated about what Damian Lowe does in his game. The young man was so composed. He didn't make one big long kick. The guy passed the ball. He did
He's
something that
very good
Mike
on the ball.
he did something that Michael Hector has been trying to do for Jamaica for 5 years also, to make a pass into the midfield accurately. No, the young man did that like about 90% last night. Like on the ground, he's hitting midfielders on the ground out of defense. Before, Damian Lowe would have just kick it way down, because this is the thing with the long ball. When you kick it, you're now creating a 50-50 ball. That means it's a flip of a coin.
You're
That
giving away possession, 50% chance of giving away possession
yeah,
and bringing more pressure on yourself as a result of that. An excellent point. I mean, King, we've got a little gem on our hands there. He's a clearly talented player. We need to nurture and bring this player on appropriately, wisely, calmly, and assuredly, because he is a quality player, and hopefully he can grow and develop into one of our quality players, because we do have the finest crop. Can we get confirmation from the likes of yourself, JT, Jamaican Guna, and Formula? Is this the greatest crop of talent that we have had, and are you confident that what in fact, what's the best strategy, do you think, to actually harness this crop of talent? Because oftentimes, sometimes, I'll be honest, I'm overwhelmed at times with the number of names that are thrown into the melting pot,
I
as
will
to
take that.
Paul Tool should be picking this player, or look out for this
I,
player,
I, I
consider
will
this
take.
player, consider this. Yes, go ahead.
I,
Anyone
will-
of
I,
Hold
you
on
will- I,
one
guys.
will- I will
second.
take
Before you
that one.
answer that, one
Yeah,
second, Taylor.
yeah,
Eagle Republic, I'm going to look into this. I'm going to look into it, Eagle Republic.
yeah.
The comment on screen. Go through, Taylor.
Yeah, Richard always asks a question, then we get me excited to answer. So that's an amazing question. You know what part of the solution is, Richard? We need to have people like Dion Burton in the program. Um, we need what we need to do, man. We need to strengthen our ties in England, as far as, because what you do when you bring in a Dion Burton, the passion is there. He felt that feeling before, what it felt like to represent Jamaica. You cannot question his patriotism, even though he's not living in Jamaica. I remember seeing Dion Burton when I was a kid. In the stadium, him shirt wet, soaking wet, playing for Jamaica. I remember those images. So you can't question, and that's the passion we need. Not only that, Dion Burton is in England coaching up some young players. He's a guy now I would give the under 20s to,
West from
because
Jalvin.
and let him keep his job in England as well, because we want to keep that link, to have players in Jamaica be able to get tryouts in England in some of these clubs.
Yeah.
Keep that communication going and keep the ties. We have to strengthen that link. And when you have a Dion Burton and a Paul Hall, why I say you solve 60% of the problem, you remove a lot of politics out of it. They're not on the ground going to a party with you and play domino with you so you can get them to pick your players. These men are here to get players who play the 4-3-3 correctly. That's it. you either
I
take his
agree with that
instruction and yeah.
wholeheartedly, bro.
So go
That's
ahead,
the
Guna.
sentiment that I shared, and and Richard, you know that I've shared this with you as well on another platform as well. You see what we have in Paul Hall is we have somebody that understands Jamaican culture, understands the mindset of Jamaica because he's a Jamaican. But the bad part of Jamaica, which is the corruption part, is not apartheid. He's not affiliated
But
with
he understands it as well.
or in a
So he knows
Cavaliers.
how to go around it and navigate it. Very good point, Guna.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So at them people that were wine on the program, brother, when the man will understand the Jamaican culture, them understand the lexicon, them understand, the whole entire Jamaican lifestyle. But at the same time, they are removed from it to the point where it doesn't corrupt them. No affiliation to no club or no school. So, the brother used to go to school, so I put him on the side, or I give him the position here. Or the brother is from a specific club, so I give him the position here. Those things, with these, look at I was a junior reporter at the World Cup, a teenager at the World Cup qualifiers, and I went to training every day, basically when they were training.
You learn something new every day, Go ahead.
Yeah. Me so write sports. So I go there, go watch the man them go play. He said Dion Burton. One of the things Jamaica used to say about Dion Burton when he that play, he said him can't shift. He has no skill. Do you know that Dion Burton pick up the ball one day and I juggle the ball and the ball couldn't drop? Like the man had the ball shoulder to shoulder for like 5 minutes, shoulder to shoulder, and the ball couldn't drop. Remember when Dion Burton was playing for Jamaica, he was about like 20 years old. Remember when Dion Burton was playing for Jamaica and scoring all those goals, he was like 20 years old. Never forget that,
Wow, I didn't know that.
We have Tyreek McGee at 21 years old.
He was young.
Wow.
We have Tyreek McGee at 21 years old. We have Lamar Walker at 21 years old. We have Peter Levax at probably 23, 24 now.
Go ahead.
When he was playing for Jamaica and scoring those goals, he was 20 years old. Remember that. So these are the people that we need in the side, in and around the structure. We need a Ricardo Bibi Gardner. We need some people. Ricardo Bibi Gardner, if him affiliation they are above you, but at least he's exposed to the world. We need people like those who are coming to the system, but we need the head of the thing to be controlled by people who know and understand Jamaican culture, but at the same time are removed from it to the point that it doesn't corrupt them.
Yeah.
What's that, Jamaican Guna?
Oh, that's a good point, man. That's a very good point.
You have some real good panelists tonight. Formula, the show of fire. Good strike over a real fire.
Formula Sports show always a fire, man.
Yeah. For real, that's true as well.
That's a very solid point, though, Guna.
I love that.
Very, very solid point, Guna.
What are you picking up in the comments, Formula? I see one on there. Well, I can't see at the moment what that thing is, but what's the comment section looking like?
Well, Krista J. Wallace is saying again, no disrespect to Tapa. This young and fresh Jamaican team that played yesterday showed many signs of improvement as it was night and day from Tapa to all. So, they are basically saying the same
I'm still give him too much credit because I don't think it was night and day. I think it was like a different planet.
And it was the first.
It was day on Earth and night on Neptune.
And that light years away. And the crazy thing was.
Oh God.
Last night was the first time I saw maybe a 90% of Jamaican fans in unison about our performance. we can talk about the negatives, but I think majority of the fans last night enjoyed that first half to a certain
Yeah,
point where
yeah.
we it was enough
Real,
for us.
real talk,
When's
bro.
the last time we heard that word? Enjoyed.
Hey,
Enjoyed.
Pamela,
Yeah,
we not
Oh,
reason already, brother. And we are say, how is it that the man them can't see a man in a yellow shirt and pass the ball to him? We know the why you reason about this already, bro.
yeah,
So why is it so hard? If the four right now go on the football field and say we're gonna play against four other players right now, we must can see a person. We must can pass a ball to Richard. We must can pass a ball to J Taylor.
Yeah,
Come on, man. Just passing the ball is the easiest thing to do in football, you know. Right? The easiest thing to do in football is to pass the ball, you know. And it's still the
yeah,
hardest thing to do. But are the easiest thing to do. But brother, remember, so we were looking at a team that couldn't pass 5 passes, you know, or couldn't make 5 passes, you know. And last night we
yeah.
see them and them pick up ball under
A
pressure and
string.
play themselves out of the press, my
Yeah,
G.
yeah,
yeah.
That was
yeah.
so impressive. It's like me never watch. It's like me I say, wait, I watch yellow shirt side this. Oh, the man, and perfect thing where J Taylor said is like watching a lower tier, like a Norwich or
Yes.
you know a lower tier
English
English Premier League team,
League
brother.
team last night,
But
bro.
you
I
know
swear
that
to
they have a
God.
plan, but they just lack the quality players
I
to
swear to
execute it.
God. We just need the transfer
Yeah,
market to
yeah,
open up last night. That's it. The transfer
yeah,
market in
yeah,
January, and we had a big
Me
sign.
say if
That's
we have
yeah.
just if we have 95-year-old Anthony Grant in an we go win.
we win, my youth. Remember,
Yeah.
you know, Anthony
Just one
Grant.
player to
Look at this.
replace such man.
Mikel
listen.
Antonio, you know. Go
Such
ahead,
man
Richard.
have a name.
Go ahead, Richard.
Such man.
No.
We
I
not
think
even call
why
him
people
name, you know.
why people are using such man is there's a lot of lawsuits flying around, and people don't want to be liable to any of these. You know,
You see,
man
the thing
saying
is,
Such
because
defamation
man,
of
man. Such
character.
man.
Well, I must say, there's 2 points that I want to add. I don't want to mess with Formula's time. Whenever he wants to end the show or wrap up, we salute, full respect. One thing I want to make clear: I was on the Crystal show, Telewa TV. Crystal made a very, very good point, and I salute her. She was vetting the comments as they came through, and one of the points she made and alluded to was the importance of mental health, mental well-being. There are, well, I was going to call out the player, but let's say the players who are representing Jamaica are human beings. Let us not forget that they are human beings. They have emotions, they have feelings. So let us not feel that we can ride roughshod over individuals without being aware of and being empathetic to the fact that they are human beings. And I'm mindful of being compassionate where this is concerned and showing respect. The second point I want to throw to you, good gentlemen's way, is this: hand on heart, because you know there's certain chickens that have come home to roost in terms of what Jamaica were coming from and where they are now. We're talking about Neptune, for heaven's sake. I mean, in terms of, you know, Earth and Neptune in terms of performance. Hand on heart, can you tell Tiddlywinks when Tapper was at the helm and driving the Juta bus, were you, or how aware were you that he had his foot on the brakes whilst driving? It's as clear as day follows night that, as you just said, passing to a gentleman in yellow, a fellow teammate in yellow, should be very straightforward and par for the course. How aware were you guys, hand on heart, when you were blazing out and hearing the calls, tap it out, wasteman this, wasteman that, tap it out, him no good, him no good. How aware were you just how much of a hamstring he was in terms of the fundamentals of the game and what you were seeing Jamaica produce?
Tapper was Go
First
ahead.
of all, can I say this?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. Go
Can
ahead.
you put your finger on it?
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm just gonna say this quickly. You know that Javon Watson's middle name is actually Tiddly. Big and serious. I
Yes,
kid you
yes,
not.
Tidley.
Actually,
Yes,
like
yes,
simply as in Tiddly Wings.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
actually
indeed,
Tiddly.
yes. I
Serious.
heard it come across. Yes, it's ironic. It's ironic.
Oh, God.
Got you, Taylor.
Jesus Christ. Um, yeah, I think Topper was driving the Juta bus, Richard, with the handbrakes up. So him just a mash up the transmission. Him a mash up everything. It was you know, you're rev out a vehicle and the handbrake is halfway up, so you're not getting that full press. We're not getting up to full throttle. And that's what was happening with the team, bro. He was too conservative. You see, when you see coaches who play passing style of football, they they're not caring so much about defenders soaking up pressure. They depend on having good defenders on the pitch who understands the game. And if your team dominates enough, your defenders won't have to do much. And I think that's the type of coach Paul Hall is. We
Pep
look so
Guardiola
good.
Pep Guardiola defends with his forwards and midfield.
With his attackers, yeah, he defends with his attackers.
Look at the Manchester United game. He defended with his forwards, his midfield, and the touchline. Right? That's the sort of high press. So what's the jargon again, man, when they used to guide teams into a trap, so to
Trap, yeah,
speak.
it's like
Right? And
as
and
Gonna
yeah.
shepherd them.
exactly. Exactly. Right? And so basically is that front press with the sideline, with the touch line, right? That was causing Manchester United a ton load of problems. They couldn't play out of that because they were being penned into a very small space that they were struggling to play out of. And the
Right,
outlet
and they couldn't
was
make no
not
mistakes.
there.
You have to be perfect. If you make a
Exactly.
mistake, them close, them win
Exactly.
the ball and I hit you.
And
Yeah,
Jamaica
you're
did
right.
that last night, going. Remember what I said? Jamaica forced Peru to be
The
flawless.
man them have, yeah, exactly. The man them have to adjust, bro. Listen me. I was watching the Honduras match, yeah, and there
Quadratic
was a
pressing.
moment in the Honduras match in which we made 6 or 7 passes together.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole I was watching the match in a partner ends with whole heap of people. And everybody reel up just to see 7 passes being made by
Yeah.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
So imagine the elation from us now, seeing a 90 minutes where we pass the ball. The first half was better than the second half, but 45 minutes then, where we were passing the ball, we looked confident on the ball, we looked like we had a plan, we looked organized, we had players covering for their teammates, we had players making themselves available. I just them 2 man there where I just not even them. Lamar Walker is the man where me feel like say make we not score last night. Just
Yes.
holding onto the ball
Yes.
like a few seconds longer than he should. Make we
Yeah.
not score.
Yes, go now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Because we not get how much shot we get on target.
Thank you,
One.
Go now.
One.
And
Yeah.
he might have ruined Jordan Fletcher's chance for another call up. He just made the player no, because Jordan Fletcher was getting in so many
Bro, the man
good
have pick up some
positions.
pockets of space, my G. If the youth just hold up in the head and pass the ball in the space, man, run and panic, Peru in a problem.
Yeah.
But it's just him. But I'm saying to the fact that we had Speedy, he started out slow, as JTL had alluded to earlier on. Started out slow, but then he came into the game because Speedy is a very quiet player, but he does his job effectively. He's a player that I actually have a lot of respect for. I think he has played his way into the squad, and I think he can start.
He always has quietly good games. Yes, Guna, you're right.
Yeah, man. In playing way in my starting 11, he's a really good player. Even when the big players come along, I just like Speedy because he seems like that. Not the same kind of player, not the exact player. Nobody misquote me now, but he's like the Xavi kind of player who controls the tempo. He just need to hold on the ball a little longer because he might shun responsibility because he doesn't want to lose the ball.
Gona, pause, Gona. That is the word that I needed to summarize it. He's handing off his responsibility to somebody else very
Fair
quickly.
point.
It
Fair
makes
point.
him look good but it affects the team. Go ahead.
And we saw him take more of the initiative in the
Last,
Costa Rica game
yeah.
in the Gold Cup, and look how well the team played. Fair
Yeah.
point. Can't
Go
argue
ahead.
with.
Go ahead, Guna. Sorry about that. Just that was a key point for me because I
By
always
the
said
way,
it. That was a key point.
Pagan, no, real talk. His real middle name is actually Javon Tiddlywinks Watson. Tiddly
Nothing doing.
Tiddly Watson.
Tiddly, tiddly,
Tiddly Watson.
tiddly. A tiddly
Javon
winks,
Tiddly
yes, sir.
Watson.
You know
Javon
how?
Tiddly
Tiddly.
Watson is
Think
actually his
about
name.
this, Richard and Formula. Jamaican football, the YouTubers have become and the fans so powerful that Javon Watson deleted his Instagram after the
Yeah,
game
yeah, yeah.
because
I heard.
the pressure
I
is on.
lie.
No, I swear
I
to
read
God,
that.
go look. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
man.
look right
I
after
didn't
the
see it
game.
myself, but everybody is saying it that he
He
deleted.
deleted his because this is what's happening in Ghana. He realized that if you don't have your fear, you can't depend on a Jota bus. And your fear is fitness, be able to carry out instruction and not, as you said earlier, not hand off your responsibility to another man. The boss, we are throw people through the window. Him see that we are fling off people
So the
around.
man real life delete him. I
Delete,
lie. Blood.
delete it
So
because
hold on, the man really and truly delete him Instagram for sure.
after a pass like that, you know what gonna happen after that. Come on, after a
Oh
pass like that.
God, man.
And I
Nah,
wasn't
but
even
as
thinking
as as um as Richard was saying, they are humans and they have feelings, and you know, I've seen some people going really hard at him still.
No, but
Um,
but you see, the thing is, though, Guna, is a delicate balance that has to be maintained, And
true that.
even in my video, I try to maintain it where me say, me no, it's not a personal attack on Haka. Me rate Prime Haka, I'm a baller. Me no mean to be offensive. Me just a be real. This version of Haka right now is a liability to the team. It's just facts, and it is. If we had, let me tell you something. You see this David Davis fellow that is getting his part, that is supposed to be getting his passport. If we had him in this World Cup qualifiers over Haka, I can guarantee you we'd be on 10, 11 points right now.
Yeah. And to add to that, let me just say with what I do respect the players. People can notice because I do go hard, and you notice I don't go that hard on Haka because I think he has represented his country very well. However, as Richard says, this is where the coldness from me comes in. Richard says they are humans. To me, football players are gladiators to me. You're in that arena with the screaming crowd. You were chosen. We don't care about your emotions. We don't care about your emotions. You got to go out here and deliver. It's next man up. Not everybody gets to represent their nation. That is a gift. You were
And and,
chosen.
and it's such an it's very important consequences, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we qualifying for the World Cup can have a massive impact on the
You could
nation.
lift up a whole nation. You could
Yes.
inspire a whole
If
nation of
exploited
youths.
properly, if the opportunity was exploited properly.
Even
So,
as the
so
YouTubers.
tiddly out there, doing tiddly wings
Yeah,
on the
even
pitch for Jamaica is can be very detrimental to our nation.
even for the YouTubers, just so for example, let's say Jamaica was doing well and they qualify and they prolong. That's even more content for the YouTubers. That's even another economic stream coming in Jamaica as well. People coming back into the stadiums, people getting ready to watch their team again. TV rights. You know what I mean? It's not just we don't cry to your family. I'm sorry. That's how football is. I don't care about that. I understand that you're human, but this is why you have to also know when to walk away.
Mm.
Sometimes you have to know when to walk away. If
And
it's
right
not,
now, Watson needs to walk away.
yeah, if it's not helping you mentally, we can't help you on the pitch because we can't sacrifice a whole nation for you, brother.
Yeah.
We have 23 players who are chosen out of 3 million people plus the diaspora, which is probably another 6 million. And you were chosen 23. Think about that. I don't even, you're probably great at math. What percentage of 9 million is that?
Yeah.
You were chosen, brother.
Not even that is less than 1%.
Yeah,
That is less than probably 0.1%.
you were
How,
chosen.
how much responsibility do you put on Paul Hall regarding the selection of his players? It's one thing to criticize constructively a player's performances, but surely there is a responsibility and a role for a head coach in actually calling up a player. And going forward, that should be the case, shouldn't it?
For this particular squad, I
Yeah.
think it's difficult to really judge Paul Hall's input
Input. Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
understandable.
selection of this particular squad because of the,
Understandable. But
the
going forward for the World
circumstances.
Cup, yes,
That
it's
remains
understandable.
to be seen. That remains to
Ah,
be seen. We can only. I mean, the squad is due. The World Cup squad is due any day now. So when that squad drops, we'll have an idea as to and the more squads we see is the more we can see the patterns and the trends and have an idea of And Paul does a lot of interviews as well. I'm sure, which is another big difference between him and the previous gaffer. Even before this game, he did like 4 to 5 interviews. So I'm sure along at some point in time he'll be asked, and you can read into those answers and make a determination as to just how involved or just how much responsibility he needs to take for the scenario with regards to selection.
You
it's
saw how.
just because. Oh, go ahead.
Let me just add to this point and hand it back to you, Richard. When he spoke about interview, Richard, you see how important it is for a coach to give a good interview and articulate to the fans what you're trying to do. You see the
Absolutely.
you see the correlation? Go ahead.
Did he give it? Did Paul Hall give an interview after the game? By the way, I've not seen it.
It was the one before the game that was important for me when he talked about
Okay.
how he wanted to play, and we saw
Yes.
that. We saw
Absolutely.
that. We had a coach who we didn't know. He didn't tell us how he wanted to play, and we didn't know how he wanted to play. So it was left to us to interpret and speculate.
Mm.
I
It,
think
it makes a huge difference. Go ahead, Formula. Before I ask
we
the question, it just emanated from what you guys were saying. Go ahead.
we haven't seen an interview from Paula yet. I think because he's not back as it. I think once he's back, we're gonna see a couple. I think once he's back, we're gonna see a couple. Um,
I hope so.
yeah, I think so. One of the things that kind of struck me though, I think the more interviews we see with him is the more we get an idea as to his personality. And to Guna's point earlier on, he strikes me as a fair and reasonable individual, but also a no nonsense kind of individual. Somebody who can, and also somebody who is very dedicated and very committed, right? I mean, I remember in the interview says the work starts tomorrow in terms of the press conference, right? And I like it. His personality and his persona and his characteristics imply or suggest that he has all the necessary tools to become a top manager. It's only a matter of time.
Analogy here, Richard. Like for example, a person owe you some money, and every time you call them, they hang up their phone. You get very upset. But if a person comes to you and say, Richard, this is what's happening to me right now. I'm in tough times. When I bounce back,
Circumstances.
you probably give him a year later to pay you off. And that's the difference. I think Paul Hall is honest to us about the challenges and the situation at hand. But in that same sense, he gives us hope and motivation that he's dedicated to getting the result that we are looking for.
Well, this dovetails neatly into the following couple of questions. Again, I salute you guys. Excellent forum. Hit the like and subscribe button for the Formula Sports, and full respects to the likes of JD on IMAX who provides some quality content and reasoning. I love the reasoning. I don't like the fighting and the head up in a Harlem business. There's a place for everyone. There's a time and a place, but the reasoning such as this, I salute. Paul Hall, you guys are waxing lyrical, but isn't it ironic that we were, or certainly there were people who were pointing to the substitutions in the Peruvian game that caused some people to doubt or question or suggest that, and ironically, it was similar to Tepa, that the substitutions left a little bit to be desired, or you were scratching your heads somewhat. How confident are you, or comfortable are you in a Paul Hall or a manager in general? You can generalize if you want, in selecting his team and his substitution. Do you like a autocratic one-man army making those key decisions, or do you like a couple of people's input when it comes to team selection for the World Cup squads and the substitutions? My second point is regarding Paul Hall's tenure as the interim head coach. He's not always going to be based in Jamaica. He's going to be based in England for a fair portion of the time. How does that sit with you as a coach of the Jamaican national team? A positive, a negative, or there's lots of pros and cons to such an appointment, pragmatically?
It's an unusual situation. It's there's you see the thing is I certainly don't know of a precedent that we could use as a reference point. It's a very unusual situation, especially I would love to know, there's talk about, emanating from the JFF about bringing him on in a more long term capacity. I'd love to know how that looks, what that would entail, and from a practical standpoint, how would he be able to juggle both jobs across the pond? No, I think that given his knowledge base from a consultancy standpoint, because I get the vibe that they want to use his knowledge and expertise in developing a system that facilitates the development of, proper young talent. I think that I don't necessarily think that he would have to be here to pull it off. I don't know. Probably someone who is more of a technocrat could speak on this, but I think that just his knowledge base could be very useful from a consultancy standpoint, right? And I don't know, he could probably it would be the technical committee that would report back to him, or I don't know how it would look, but it all depends on the roles and the job, the exact job description and what that would entail, and a number of other different variables, but right now it is working. He's working at what he's currently doing. He's across the pond, he has a job over there, and he's out here, and one game down so far. Yes, it's a small window, but I'm satisfied. And the issue of the substitutions, that was the only question mark I have from yesterday's game.
Me as well. Me as
The
well.
only reason why I'm not going to beat him for it
Lack
is
of quality.
because, and not only that, the context in which it happens. And we still don't have, if he does an interview and he's asked about the substitutions and I'm not pleased with the answer, then the belt will swing. But I'm still not so 100% sure of the intentions behind the substitutions in yesterday's game, and the context of the game that it took place in doesn't really provide any clearer answers for me personally.
For me, I
Guna,
don't.
JT?
Yeah, for me, if Paul Hall is going to be on in the long term, I think you have to give him another team to coach as well. Another young team. If he's going to be dedicated to Jamaica on a whole, because in international football right now, you're not coaching teams every day. You're not coaching guys up because guys are in their different leagues. They're all over the place. You will have them in at a certain times when you have friendlies. So Paul Hall is not just going to be there every day, just coaching away. Most of his times he's going to be scouting. So I don't really see the issue with that. So I think for me, I would give him another team to coach, maybe the under 23s, to keep him occupied, to get maybe more out of him, so even that he could help to transition more players into the senior team, then give him something else to do. So the substitution, I was one of the persons who brought that to the fold, where I found I'm big on substitution. I believe that your substitution is what you use to change a game, just as how we speak about the chess piece. You have to know the piece to take off the board, and what move to make. I judge coaches on substitution, because I think that's how you change a game. However, he could get away with the way he substituted last night if it was a more quality team on the park. I think last night, as Formula said, the circumstances, he gets a pass, but the circumstances also, he didn't get a pass, because it was a situation where we wanted to see more players. You know what I mean? So it was a bit
Fair
twofold.
point. Akosa, Chang, and Busy. Akosa should have been given a run out, and Busy should have gotten more time. That's a solid point, Taylor. Can't disagree with that. That's a fair point.
What's your take on that, Guna? Oh, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Guna. I was only going to just mention that I'm looking forward to. That's going to be one of the key questions that I'm looking forward to Paul answering. I was wondering, speculating that was he trying to shore up this particular game, and did he think that putting on a Chong would have been not necessarily ideal, given that the Peruvians were coming more into the game? He may have realized that the opportunities would have been far and few between for a Chong to shine with a few minutes. As I said, I'm only speculating, so I'm looking forward to hearing what Paul Hall. And there's no rush. Maybe there's no rush. He knows that Chong is there, and he will be given an out and a point. But maybe he just thought, well, a 20 minutes or 15 minutes here may not have necessarily served any purpose. And Shaw, by the way, I don't know much about Shaw, and I really want to see and ask and find out why Shaw wasn't chosen and to get a run out, because I'm looking forward to seeing that central defensive midfield area covered. And I think it will. I think we've seen just about the last of certain players, and some questions were answered. Go ahead, Formula. Go ahead.
Richard, you see, the thing is, why take off Damian Lowe then if you want to shore things up? One. Two, one of the key elements in defense is being able to keep and progress the football, right? To get the game further away from your goal as possible, right? And my thing is that Fletcher was leggy. He was one of the main reasons why we were able to, progress the ball so well into advanced areas of the pitch, because of his excellent false nine work, where his movement, finding the pockets of space, and the link-up play is concerned. The player was leggy. So from a
point, by the way,
standpoint, it would have been in the best interest of the team to give Akosa the run out.
For an effective outlet.
Exactly.
Good point. At what point? How many minutes into the game was that? How many minutes into the game was that?
When?
Roughly. When did you pick up that Fletcher was leggy? I'd love to see the game again if I get the opportunity. How long?
I waited in a game, and I'm about 68 minutes. That's all.
Yeah, around in the 50, 68 minutes.
Yeah, around the same. Right after the half, come out. When come out, about 10 minutes after the half, man, and start look.
Yeah. You could see that there was a drop-off, a considerable drop-off. Go through, Guna.
To answer the question where Richard posed earlier on, I'm very confident in this coach. I don't know why. I'm not coach a big side, but I'm just very confident in his coaching. Before he even led out our team, I was pretty confident in him. I've heard him speak, and his language, his lexicon is that of a person who is knowledgeable of football and the small intricacies them that are involved. And I see Formula put it up, say, in Paul all we trust.
It's a very, very strong statement, but it's a statement which I have to agree with, because what you know, I want my coach being confident. I want my coach being brave. I want my coach doing things during the game that affects the game, small things, and I want my coach to be transparent. Where we have to say certain things. We have to ask questions. My coach is supposed to be able to come out and answer the questions, and without getting annoyed or looking annoyed when he's replying to the questions or replying to hard-hitting questions. People are asking him, they asking the exact same thing. How is he going to manage doing club work and the international football? And he said the exact same thing that who said it a while ago. Jay Taylor said, yes, in the work straight through. Remember, say every week or every day he's gonna be there, so he can do his other job during that course of time, and then when it's time for his duty to come out and he do what he need to do. And I've heard him say, yo, you know, my club is working with me, so I'm good, way. So I'm very confident in my coach. Secondly, our coach in one game, just one game, I have seen a style of play. Do you know how refreshing that feels to me as a Jamaican Reggae Boy supporter? Remember, regardless of Aka doing garbage and making an assist for the opponent, he's still my player. He's a Jamaican player. And as long as he's representing Jamaica, he's still a Jamaican player. And we might not want him in our side, but he's still a Jamaican player. So he's our player. So we have to be careful when we are, when we are dealing, because at the end of the day, our player. He may play for Trinidad, he may play for Spain, he may play for Egypt, he may play for Grenada, he may play for Jamaica. So we still have to strike a little balance there. So my coach, I'm very, very confident in my coach. I'm just sorry that he didn't get the team earlier, because if he might get the B side, playing a friendly match with less quality players, and he can look and I can look and see differences in my team. I can see my team put 15 passes together. I can see my team pick up the ball from defense, the goalkeeper roll it out to the centre back pass it to the midfielder pass it go to the left hand side pass it back in the midfielder pass it back to the right hand side, and we have the ball and we keep possession of the ball and we take the time to creep up the field. If I can see that in one Dege match, and I was not able to see that in 5 years, trust me, I'm very, very confident though. So
I'm gonna push it a step further, just a step, and throw in this word: gravitas. Gravitas.
Here you go.
When the big boys, Guna, JT, Captain Formula, when the big boys come to town, we've seen the likes of Pep Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel, Klopp, Arteta, the list goes on. Manchester United currently have a manager that is not a household name. David Moyes was the manager of Man United for a period of time, and it wasn't very successful. I put it to you that one of the reasons was a lack of gravitas. Paul Hall, does he have that G word to hit the right spot for the Jamaican crop of talent that will be coming on board for the World Cup qualification games remaining and beyond, including the Nations Cup and Gold Cup campaigns? Or is Paul Hall, as the former assistant manager, going to have that ability to get the guys up for the challenges that lay ahead?
Sir Richard, that Formula brought up a very, very interesting point, and the more I think about it, the more I start worrying. I'm more worried about the JFF trying to hinder him and put on big chain on Paul Hall's foot and don't give him the tools that he needs. That's a real serious worry of mine. I don't want to start thinking negative, but that is something that I worry about. I don't want them to hinder this person from doing his job, because I can see that in one game I can see a style of play, bro. Imagine we were playing like this with our best players, with the best crop of players Jamaica has assembled in years. Imagine we were playing like this 5 games ago. 5 games ago. We'd have been sitting comfortably, bro. Because we have better quality players. Bobby Reed and the man there and Rafael Morrison and the man there. Michael Antonio would have probably been on board long time ago in Beckham because such man, they never want him in the team. You have the ability to get one of the top scorers in the English Premier League. At the time that he started to play for Jamaica, he was the top striker across Europe.
He was right up there. He was right up there.
He was on 6 goals or 7 goals and everybody else was on 4.
He was second to only Lewandowski at the time.
The Lewandowski, right. Bro, come on, man. And this is what I'm talking about, bro. So we have the opportunity now where we have a coach who has sense, a reason with the people, them talk to it, make us know what's going on, let us know that the tactics is gone without giving away too much secrets. And I'm hoping that he can utilize, and we must not, I'm not questioning his way too much, you know. Because maybe these players did not buy into the philosophy and the system that he wanted to play. That is why they didn't come on earlier. Because I was pretty surprised that Busy Adkins didn't start. I thought he would have started.
I thought he would have started.
Beckford started instead. I thought that he would be the one that was starting and the one I flanks them. You know what I mean? So this coach is brave. You know what I mean? He's willing to do the unexpected. And it's not like he did something and it's not like he was playing a goalkeeper at right wing. Or playing 4 right backs at one time on the field. You know?
Oh, God.
Yeah, man. He might play the right man. He might play. Bro, the man started out playing. The two players.
Game. How many makeshifts did we see in this game? All that,
bro, that is what I'm going to say to you, Formula.
We didn't have one. You're back to the makeshift. You remember the makeshift is?
No, we didn't have one makeshift.
The man play, the man them in a way them fi play, brother. The man them play a midfielder in midfield, a defender in defense, a forward and forward, attacking midfielder. Even the 2 attacking midfielders them where we had. He was playing them. Remember, so them play a 4-3-3, you know. But they were playing a false 9. So the 3 attack, the 3 part for people were playing forward, even though one was playing right, one was playing left, and one was playing centrally. They tucked in at times to become like a triangle up at the front with Javian Fletcher at the tip of the triangle.
Yeah.
Now these small tweaks where we as fans, remember, you know, we're not a coach, we're not a Pep Guardiola, but we have 2 big eyeballs in our head where we can look and see. You can see the players following instructions. When we are attacked, the man them give width. When we are defending them talk. The brother was playing a false 9, bro. When last season, you ever see Jamaica play a false 9?
But it's yeah. And he was
the man playing a false 9. False 9 role is no striker, basically. You only pop up in the spot when the ball reaches. That's what false 9 do.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of intelligence to play that.
Yeah.
And the youth was playing a false 9 and he did it effectively. A lot of people didn't see it, but he did it effectively. And I think that is what was the thing. I think Paul, maybe Chang, maybe Atkinson he wasn't satisfied with how they were receiving the messages. Beckford did it, Lamar Walker did, and Javian Fletcher did. And I think that is what we're seeing now. We're seeing a coach who he has a specific philosophy, and you have to just buy into it, and you have to just go there, the bush over one part. And to add, I think Suchman was on the field for a long time because he wanted to prove to Suchman that you're not ready for this. And maybe some people would have vouched for him and saying for his side. He wanted to make them know, say, brother, look for it. This man is not ready for that thing here, brother. I keep him on the field as long as possible, but I show him I'm not ready for this. Because with the practice match, you can't do them things in a practice match, bro. You don't have to be concise and 100%. And no, practice match is for experimentation, bro. So it was experimented to see how long you can sleep on the field without a drop and dead.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I can't understand how people never saw how well Javian Fletcher played in especially the first half. I can't understand it. And I think that segues us into one of the two final things I wanted to talk about. one, the movement of the players in the game. You know, one of the main issues I saw with Tupper was that the team in possession under Tupper was too static in possession on the ball, right? And I think the movement for me of the players in this particular Peru game was very, very impressive. You could see the patterns of movement, and and not only the movement in terms of, you know, moving into space, etc., but also the interchanging as well. So you saw where the number 6 and number 8 position was being interchanged with Speedy and Haka, where on one particular play, when it was best suited, you saw Haka playing a number 8 role, and, you know, Speedy sitting and playing the number 6 role. And on another play, when it was better suited, you saw Speedy playing the number 8, Haka playing the number 6. That's the sort of fluidity that we're talking about, that we wanted to see with the team. And
for those not familiar,
rigid.
those not familiar with the 6 and 8 roles, can you just break it down, Formula, to describe what you're referring to with the 6 and 8 roles, what they're doing?
Well, basically, the number 6 is the one who sits in front of the back line and protects. The number 8 is the one who has both defensive and offensive duties, but is tasked more with contributing to the attacking side of the game. I mean, that's basically in a nutshell, you know, what both roles entail.
And they were interchanging nicely. Well put, well described. Thank you.
Yeah.
What people in other ways, a 6 usually is a shield for the defense. Sometimes they earlier on they used to be behind the center half when they used to play sweeper, and now they're in front. But basically the same thing. You clean up whatever mess is made in front of you. The 8 is like what we call a box to box.
Box to box, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 8 is like a player that does both parts of the job, defending
and both ends. But
yeah,
I mean, it depends on the role too, because, you know, some managers would want their box to box a little bit more involved in the attack than others. So, you know, but another interchanging that I saw was causing some problems also, you know, was Fletcher and my boy, Peter Lee Vassell. Right, if the final, I saw like that I saw interchanging taking place between those two, and what it was doing was destabilizing Peru's backline, disorganizing Peru's backline, and dragging players out of position because there was confusion on a number of plays as to which run to track. And if the final balls were better, that's something that beat us in this game. If the final pass was better, or if the final pass was actually made when it was supposed to be made, the decision was better, we could have had some dangerous scenarios where that interchange, you know, could have been better exploited.
I'm gonna make a move shortly. I don't even know what time flies when they're having fun. I don't even know what time. 1:20. When they bling.
It's in England. In England,
it's 1:29. We call it 1:30. 1:30 a.m. Rock of Ages. Hey, Clef for me. You know, you see the formula.
Yeah, man. I'm getting out of here, man.
We're gonna have to. A quick final thing. You brought up some fantastic points. You guys, thank you very much for hosting an outstanding discussion. Ball possession. Haven't heard too much about it. I saw a figure 39%. I don't know if that was the end of game ball possession stats. I have no idea, but I've not heard anyone talk about ball possession where Jamaica are concerned. Do you have a preference for how this team at its optimum could play? That may be another question that Paul Hall will be asked by the press, because they're going to be looking to ask the pressing questions. Are you concerned at all about that and the energy levels of the Jamaican team to carry out the instructions, whatever Paul wants to get the players to do? Go ahead.
I think this particular crop of players, the issue is that they are not used to the pace of play at this particular level. So I think they got very leggy, very early in the game compared to their Peruvian counterparts. So if it wasn't for that, the ball possession stats would not be so bad. We missed the 40% mark by 1%. Now in the World Cup qualifiers, we only cracked 40% twice in the World Cup qualification. So I'm not really concerned about the ball possession, because I say the main issue for that was just that the players like the Fletchers and the Beckford and those players, they're not used to the pace of play at this particular level. So keeping up with it might have been a little bit problematic.
They can only benefit, I hope. I hope they can only benefit, because it was a learning experience. Away game, a South American team that's flying, top 5. I think they're in the 5th position, only behind on goal difference compared to Colombia. So I think there were lots of upsides, as you have mentioned in some of your output.
That problem won't. I don't see that problem. I don't foresee that problem arising with the likes of Antonio and Ravel and Bobby and those players, because they would be, they are used to.
We just didn't have the quality out there to get the ball position. So I think what I'm most proud about yesterday was Jamaica for the first time had build-up play, and we created clear-cut opportunity of build-up play. Mikel Antonio has been living off crumbs.
True.
Mikel Antonio scored his goals off crumbs. He never get a great pass out of the middle or something, and a true ball. It was just something happened and a miracle happened, and he scored. Yesterday, Jamaica, if we had a Ravel Morris in front at the 18, a Mikel Antonio or Andre Gray running on to the football, it would have been much better. Even a Junior Fleming's out there for a Lamar Walker. Just to touch back on one of your points, Richard, that I think the players who played yesterday were the players who picked up Paul Hall's system the fastest in training. I think potentially that's what happened to Busy Atkinson. He wasn't responding probably effectively to instructions.
But
because
he looked like a live wire when he came on, though, Taylor.
You can
it
look
was
like
reported that he impressed Paul Hall,
You can look like a live wire, but you're not shock up nothing. You can be a live wire, but current now run through the thing. So this is another thing I was telling you about, that what I notice how they play football in Scandinavia is they really go for the true ball. Whenever they get in front of the 18, they're looking to pass the ball across the 18. And when I went to train for a team, I was running down the flank like a madman trying to catch that true ball in the 18. It never came.
We saw it in the game. Came. We saw it in the game yesterday too. It's what they call it pocket play. That's one of the things that they refer to it as, and it does help to disorganize the defense when the ball is moving across in front of the back line.
You see, and I didn't even thought about it as that, like that. And that's the thing where a lot of Jamaican players, probably when they go on tryouts in different regions, they don't really actually look into the style of play that region is playing. So they just coming off their raw talent and what they've been taught how to play football. So maybe that was a thing where Busy Atkinson didn't really pick up what Paul Hall was trying to do, and he was going off just what he knows how to do. So Paul Hall potentially was like, he has the talent, but he's one for the future. He needs more time. Potentially, I'm thinking that's what he saw yesterday. But I have to say, I'm happy. The first 45 minutes is where all the evaluation took place for me. That was enough for me. I really, as what Guna said, I thought I was looking at a Norwich out there for the first 35 to 45 minutes. And we had build-up play, and we got the football over 20 times under 5 seconds. That's one of my favorite stats. How quickly can you turn over the football? Because that was one of the things Jamaica could not get the other opponent to turn over the football to us.
Yeah.
And I believe
we weren't pressing properly.
You cannot score without the football, my friend. You cannot score without the football. You will.
And we won it in some dangerous areas, with better quality. We could have better exploited.
Yeah, yes, yes. You would be chasing the wind. You will be chasing the wind if you
Of
don't
course,
have football.
we're going to have to be mindful of the fact, of course, that opponents will also be looking to raise their game, including personnel. So it will be a case of like for like, and it will be a like for like, A versus A, come the office on the 27th. Is that right? 27th?
Yeah, 27th
27.
of January.
27th. So
And Paul Hall is going straight back to Jamaica, right? So he will be having a little bit more time with some of these local players that he thinks he's going to be in the team. So that's a little bit more time for those guys to maybe get a better hold of his system and what he wants to do, the ones who are going to be in the squad.
more
Yeah.
power to them. More power to one and all. I'm going to have to make a move, gentlemen. Are you
Yeah,
wrapping up
I'm
now,
closing
Formula,
it
or
off
I'm not
now.
pushing you? I'm going to make a move
Yeah,
myself,
man,
though.
I'm closing it off now because we have covered. We have, you know, I think we have covered enough.
Formula,
We
is
have
the game
covered
on
them.
YouTube? I could rewatch it again.
I think so. I think
It
so.
should be. I'm looking to try and check it out. I'll be looking.
The
Certainly, the highlights are out there. Maybe extensive highlights may be available soon,
Peru
and hopefully the
the
whole game
Peru
at some point.
Panama game was on YouTube as well.
YouTube. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna check it
Yeah.
out tonight again. But thank you
Yeah.
again very much. Big up yourself, Guna. Thank
Yeah,
you
big
very
up
much,
Formula.
Richard.
Respect,
Yeah,
bro.
Big up,
man.
Jay
Formula.
Taylor, big up yourself. Sir
Big up.
Richard, blessings.
Yeah,
Respect.
man.
Formula, good
All right.
thanks for the platform, bro. Good show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Much
Respect me.
appreciated.
Full
And big up
And
to
respect,
all
you
the people
everybody.
in
guys,
the chat.
thanks for
Yeah.
jumping
Up.
on.
Yeah, man, no problem with you. Up.
Yeah, man. Take care, guys. All right. So, guys, to all the commenters and the viewers alike, thanks for being here. We're gone almost 4 hours. Can you believe it? 3 hours and 50 minutes. I did
Wow.
not intend for this live to. So, Richard, this live was gonna be like an hour and a half.
Oh
I
yeah,
did
sir.
not intend for it to be this long. But when this happens from time to time, when ball game conversation sweet you just have to go with it, man. You dare not pull the plug. Right? Can't lock off the sound. Can't lock it off. See?
An excellent
Not
time.
gonna
Time well spent.
not gonna be that guy. Not gonna be that guy. So guys, thanks to the commenters, thanks to the panelists for jumping on, and it was an amazing discussion, man. I love discussions like this, and I always love when panelists like Richard, panelists like Guna, panelists like JT come on and give their insights. Always add a lot of value to the conversation. Thanks to the commentators in the comment section. Your comments are much appreciated, provide a very unique spice to the show, and to the silent viewers as well. Your support is much appreciated. So guys,
Absolutely.
a lot of encouraging signs from the display yesterday. Hopefully things can go our way and we can see even more encouraging signs in the upcoming World Cup qualification fixtures. Take care, stay safe, and until next time, guys.